Well, let's get into this because here's the thing.
Okay.
I fucking hate Saeris.
You do?
Yeah, I do. I hate her.
You know what, Danya? Who's going to behead you? Because you're just going to ruin everything, honestly.
It's so true.
You know that little, like, creature that was, like, helping?
Oh, yeah.
I did not picture that thing in my head at all.
I know. It's so
I was
funny.
like, what is it? Like a little piece of coal
like
walking around?
elf.
I was like,
a little
I couldn't picture it.
coal.
I couldn't picture it. I was like, I pictured a coal with like arms and legs. I was like, I don't know what I'm supposed to be seeing in my head. As soon as I got out of that bed, I would have opened the window and jumped out of it. Just because I would have been like, I know this is going to give him a heart attack.
The spicy stuff.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Hi, everyone. Welcome back. I'm Ale.
And I'm Carla, and this is Booked and Buzzin'.
From bestseller to hidden gems, we're going to be sharing our thoughts, reviews, and the latest buzz of the book world.
Today, we're going to be diving into Quicksilver by Callie Hart, the first book in the Fae and Alchemy series.
Yep, the second book, Brimstone, is meant to come out November 2025. So we are going to be sipping on our spicy margaritas.
So grab your favorite drink, settle in, and let's get booked and buzzin'.
Let's get booked and buzzin'.
Let's get booked and buzzin'. Oh, we'd like to introduce the red mic. This is a new addition to Booked and Buzzin'. So if you watched the previous episode, you may have seen that there was a whole lot of shit talking. So whoever is feeling the most amount of the strongest need to vent will be using the red mic, and it'll make an appearance whenever you can get ready to hear somebody get really frustrated.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so Saeris, what are your thoughts? Good main character? Did you like her?
I hated Saeris. I was so disappointed in this female main character, and it hurt even worse because she started off strong. She started off like, ooh, I like this character.
So you don't think she's a badass?
No. I think that she is dumb. I think that she's dumb. I think that she's wimpy. And I think that she pretended to be strong.
You don't think she's skilled?
No.
In anything?
No. I don't think so. I hated her. I started off respecting. I'm like, okay, we have a female character that is kind of tough and she's doing it on her own and her brother depends on her. And, you know, she's a little bit of a badass. She seems to be like, you know, taking reign of their life. And then she goes to the fairy realm. I don't know that's what you call it, but then she becomes dumb. Like, that's what she does. She just becomes this kind of, like, little girl in distress. And she pissed me off.
I see what you're talking about. I mean, I definitely have my critiques of her. I do think the Saeris that we were introduced to in the first chapter is not the Saeris that... It's almost like she dives into the Quicksilver and her personality does a 180.
Yeah. Yeah. For me, it was, like, not only the personality, but almost, like, the way she thought. It became, like, she was, like, thinking, like, I can do this, and I'm going to do that, and I do this for us, and I got this taken care of. I'm going to go talk to him about this.
Is it giving Violet?
It's giving worse than Violet.
No,
Absolutely
not.
I think so.
Not.
No.
Absolutely. There's nothing worse than Violet. I'm so sorry to tell you that. Nothing worse.
I'm telling you, for me,
give me that fucking red
mic. For me, she was totally worse. She was totally worse because at least for me, it becomes different when you... This is why I think she's worse than Violet. It's different when you start off being shy and being less than like Violet, and then you develop the audacity, which I know you hate, but it's different for me to be given a tough character, someone that shows up in a very strong way.
I get what you mean.
And then diminishes.
Yeah, I get what you mean. It almost feels like you got the rug pulled from under you kind of thing.
Yeah. And for all of those that have opinions about like, no, because, you know, because that's what I've seen. It's like, no, you know, she was in a different world and she didn't know where she was standing. And I've got specific books on my mind where the female character had the toughest moments and she was still strong. And I know you know what we're talking about. And Aelin.
Well, here's what I'll say. I do agree with you that Saeris the complete 180, and it did throw me off because I was like, wow, she's the very first page. She's like literally getting her ass beat, and she like spits out the blood. I think she spits out the blood, and then she makes a joke, and she's like, "That's all you got," kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it gives like very much like, okay, I read that and I was like, I think I'm gonna like you, but no joke, she goes into the Quicksilver and comes out completely muted. She becomes friends with Evelyn immediately, which like Evelyn, the sister, whatever the fuck her name is. Yeah, whatever. Evelyn, please get the fuck out of here. Which is like, bro, you don't know her. She's like, I just feel like everything that, all the fight she had in her disappeared. And that's weird because like, yes, different world, but you're still the same person. All of her apprehension was gone, you know, and it just kind of became like it almost felt like she was just like an empty character, that like a vessel for you to follow throughout the story.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I do see your frustrations. I don't think she was worse than Violet, but I'm not going to go into that because you have the red mic.
I hated her. I think this is why I had such a hard time getting into this book. And again, like, I can see, I did enjoy a lot of the world building, which I think we'll get into next. But I think I just need to kind of talk through the fact that she was a very disappointing character.
I agree with that.
And I think that her inability to be herself, I'm guessing, is like difficult for me because you are introducing me to a character, you're making them seem strong and intelligent, like not trusting most people. Like her circle was very small. It was like Elroy and her brother, and like that's it. And then now you're out here becoming best friends with some girl you just met.
Renfis.
So let me just go through that first.
Whatever his name is. Wait, so do you want to keep talking about Saeris or you want to start world building?
I want to just continue about Saeris. And then the other thing that I feel was really difficult for me in regard to her is the way that she was introduced in different relationships. I feel like I really hated how she was like, well, we're friends, right? Like at a point in the book where she was like, Everlane and I are friends. So like, don't friends like trust each other? And I'm like, you met her like 3 hours ago is how it felt the entire intro.
That, but it's like, you know that Evelyn is like withholding things from you, and like, you know that you're here for a purpose. Everybody has made that very clear to you. You are here for a purpose. And her dad was like, get her to do what she needs to do to Evelyn. So it's like, you're not my friend. You're here to accomplish whatever it is that you need to. Like, yeah, you nursed me back to health and things, but like, it wasn't out of the kindness of your heart.
No. If it were some random person they met down the street, would they have done that for them? No.
And here's the thing, too. Everybody's always talking about how inferior she is as a human. So it's like, or not everyone, Kingfisher. Bro, that name.
Can we talk? Hold on. I need a second with this. Okay. Who made up these stupid names?
Callie Hart.
I'm sorry. I feel like I want to apologize because I don't care. I'm not going to apologize. But I do feel bad if this was like, I don't know. I think I'd have tough skin if I were an author. So I'm just going to say it as it goes.
Say it as it is.
Say it as it is.
We don't hold back.
I think there's a difference between, yeah, true. I think there's a difference between making names that are interesting, right? Or like fantastical, I guess. And then making names that just sound like, I don't know, like why is someone called Kingfisher? That's so weird.
Look, like, I didn't have a problem with most of the names. Like, I know I'm like saying Evelyn, and I know her name is Everlyn. Carrie.
But what about Telena? What is that?
Oh yeah, I was like
Telena.
Yeah,
¿Qué es
I was
eso?
like, what is this? But the only name I actually had a problem with was Kingfisher, just because I was like, Fisher. Like, I just think of like the smell of raw fish. That's what I think of when I hear his name, Kingfisher.
Yeah. The only thing I will say is I will give them the benefit of the doubt. Like, I think there was a point in the book that said, oh, we don't tell the real names or something like that. And I'm like...
Yeah, but that doesn't do anything for me.
But that does nothing for me because you should have picked a better name.
Yeah.
Kingfisher sounds dumb.
I like Sarah's name.
Saeris?
Sarah, well, however you say it. Yeah.
I like her name. I hate her. I don't like anything about her. So, I don't like her name. I don't know why I hated her so much. But I remember being halfway through this book and I'm like... I cannot stand
Well,
this
I will tell
character.
you, even though I don't hate her, I'm indifferent towards her. I would watch, I would read and be like, what are you doing? Like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah. Yeah, she doesn't know. She doesn't know what she's doing. She does
I
dumb
didn't.
things.
I don't hate her. It's kind of like the roles are reversed this time around, where
Yeah.
I don't hate her. I do get annoyed with her, but I don't hate her. Versus you have a burning hatred for her.
Yeah, I really do, and I don't know why because it's been a really long time. I can't even remember the last time I disliked the character like this. I lied.
But what is it that is getting you so like I hate you?
I just felt like I guess okay. This is what I'm thinking. I felt like she was like what's that saying? Like you became like a lady in distress or whatever.
Oh, damsel in distress.
Yes, yes, yes. And before anybody talks about like, oh, strong female characters don't always have to be aggressive, I understand that. But here's the difference. And I'm going to give you an example. I'm going to go back to book talk for a second. Lysandra, Throne of Glass.
Yeah, but now you're diving into like holy grail territory.
I know. And maybe that is, I don't know.
Well, let me just preface because I don't think we've talked about Throne of Glass. Throne of Glass
Yeah.
is top tier for us.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's very hard to compare, which I do it all the time.
Yeah.
But it's very hard. There are like franchises that I always compare things to, like Throne of Glass and Harry Potter. Those are my two where I always toggle back and forth. Harry Potter is my childhood books, and I just love it. Throne of Glass is like my adult Harry Potter, where it's like, you know, it really enveloped me. I love it. I think it's a great story, very well written, great characters. So I get where you're coming from, but I think also for me, I haven't read as many. I've read ACOTAR, I read Throne of Glass, and I've read Fourth Wing, and that's been basically the bulk of my adult fantasy, romantasy scope. And I think you've read more, so I think that you're also deeper in this journey, and you've already kind of figured out what characters you do or don't like, and what qualities piss you off versus don't.
Yeah. That's fair. Maybe you're right. I do think I have a little bit more expectations on this kind of, but at the same time, I don't know. I just think she was written rushed, and I think she was written in a very damsel in distress.
I didn't get damsel in distress from her. I got dumb as fuck. Is what I got.
Well, that's good.
Because here's my thing. I am who I am through and through, right? So like, my qualities, like my personality, it doesn't really change. Yes, different circumstances will mute certain parts of me, but they're always there. And so like, I had a huge issue, which I don't know if we want to get into this. I'd rather just keep this about like, Saeris. But I had a huge issue with certain things that like speak to my personality. That's just who I am, and that always stays with me. So like for her, I'm like, how do you go from being like this survival, tough ass, like I'll do what I need to do to survive, witty person, which was I really liked her in the first like 3 chapters. I mean, she has a sword sticking out of her stomach, and she fucking like crawls, or was it a sword or not? I don't know what it was, but she literally had something stuck in her stomach. Sword, right?
Yeah.
She was impaled, and she's like going to the Quicksilver,
like,
and she
I'm
still
not
pulls it
going
out, and
to-
she's
yeah.
like, "You're gonna die with me."
Correct.
She's very relentless, and her personality, it was great. It was giving like a great
it was
potential.
giving strong. It was given.
Yeah.
I like this.
But
I
then
like where this is going.
She goes into the Quicksilver and becomes like, I don't even know what the word is. Complicit, tranquil, submissive, all of those things.
I think yes. And then it was kind of like she pretended to be. I don't know if pretending is the right word, but I just feel like it was annoying. I just maybe I do have more opinions around the way the book was written, and then I'll get into that. But let's start with let's take a break from characters for a second, and let's move into world building.
Okay.
A little bit. Enjoyed a little bit of the world building. I didn't think that the plotted, I don't know if that's the way to say it, to build these kind of characters, but nonetheless, we'll get into it. I really enjoyed, I think the map was a little bit subpar for me. I didn't love it too much.
Agree.
Yeah, I think that the map was not giving me I'm excited to learn about these places. Again, maybe this is just me, but I feel like the things that she named were just not good.
What do you mean, like the names she
The
came up with?
names she came up with, maybe that's what's lacking for me in the world building and the map.
I didn't care too much for the names. What I think is that she did great with the world building until the moment that Saeris left the Belicon's castle. From there on, the world building took a nosedive, in my opinion. Because the way she described like their desert, I don't even remember what it's called, but their desert kingdom for the humans, where Saeris is.
Yeah, Silvarin.
Silvarin. It was like I actually was able to picture it really well in my mind.
Yes, I agree.
Then when she explained the castle in Silvarin, also pictured it really well. Her going into the Quicksilver, coming out, and then even when they were like walking down, Everlyn, Kingfisher, and Saeris, and I think Renfis, they were walking down the hallway, and she was talking about how she was struggling to keep up.
Totally saw
and
it.
she saw all of these like statues of gods. I was picturing that really well.
Yep. I think she did great with that.
The moment that she got on that horse and went through a portal, that was it. From there on, I was just picturing whatever world came to my head because I just didn't. I felt like she stopped world building at that point.
You know what? This is such an interesting take because not only do I completely agree, I think that she almost, and this is what I'm thinking as an author. Wait, no, I'm not an author, but I'm thinking like in the process of creating your own world, you might have given a lot of thought to your first place. And it felt that way. It felt like I was picturing Silvarin very well and the palace and all that. And it almost felt like the second that they got to Amontriath, I'm like...
Kingfisher's home?
Well, that's...
Or like Kingdom?
Kalish, I think, right?
I don't know.
Yeah, it is. Okay.
Just basically from the moment that they leave Belicon's castle.
Yeah.
I couldn't picture anything else.
Yep. I agree.
So I think...
like the world building was a little bit subpar for me in that perspective. But I didn't hate it. It was just really hard for me to get into it. I will say, though, I don't know if I'm a sucker... no pun intended, for vampires. But I do like me a little vampire. So I was actually pleasantly surprised when the vampires were introduced. And I was like, ooh, okay, you don't really see this in Fae Realms. You don't see this in a lot of books that I've read. It's always kind of like they're the Fae, and then there are, different magic beings. But you don't... I have not read many books where the Fae realm has vampires. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, vampires tend to be like their own kind of books.
Yeah.
So when I read that, I was like, ooh, okay. I like this.
I didn't
How did
care.
you feel about that? Okay.
I honestly didn't pick up that it was vampires immediately because when they were like, you know how the monsters like break into the castle and then like that's kind of like the introduction to them.
Yeah.
I didn't really get like, oh, and they're vampires. It wasn't until Malcolm, I guess they go more into it and who's Malcolm, and that's when I was like, okay, so vampires.
Yeah. What tipped me off was when they were describing the suckers, the elongated yellow fangs. I'm like, ooh.
No, I was just like, oh, they have like long teeth. But I didn't, because
fangs?
I'm dumb. Well, I'm dumb.
I don't think you're dumb.
No, I am. So, I didn't pick that up immediately, but eventually, yes, it did become clear that they were vampires. I felt neither here nor there about it.
Okay.
I don't really care. Like, I read Twilight, and at the time I liked it, and I don't really care. I don't feel strongly or for or against the vampire trope.
That's good. I love vampires.
Yeah, which is ironic.
I do. I know. It's ironic because I have like a phobia with blood.
I know.
It's hilarious. I have read so many vampire books, and I promise you that there are points in books where I like literally set it down and I'm like, I'm going to pass out and I have to like lay down. I have to lay down because they did a descriptive scene or whatever, and I'm like totally going to pass out by how grossed out I am. And then I'm like, okay, I must continue reading this. I don't know. It's a weird thing. But
I'm not mad by that, though. I'm not mad by the inclusion of vampires in this. Yeah. I do kind of feel like it does add a different element. Like I said, I'm not very far into the romantasy series, so I know that vampires do exist in romantasy, and I just haven't touched that yet.
Yeah.
But since
it's usually
I haven't,
in their world in their own. Yeah.
But since I haven't, I'm like, okay, this is refreshing.
Yeah.
I am kind of like, ew, at the thought that like now, okay, I feel like we should put a spoiler warning in the beginning of each video, but like if you have not read this book, why are you watching
here?
this?
No, don't even, ugh, whatever.
But at the end, you know, she becomes like a hybrid.
Yeah.
And she becomes the queen of their nasty podrido like kingdom.
Don't even get me started yet.
But what I'm getting at is that I was like, I'm not interested in that because
Yeah.
it sounds like a miserable land. Like I would run the fuck out of there.
Yeah, it sounds depressing.
It sounds like it's
maybe that's why
all
we can't
those
picture
bold,
well.
stringy like things
Yeah.
that just surround you and are waiting
Disgusting.
for commands. Like I don't want to live there.
Yeah.
Actually,
Well, and this is another thing, and maybe you do have thoughts about this. What I didn't like about one other thing I didn't like about the world building is that it wasn't clear as to why some vampires turned into those senseless beings and why some of them became like Malcolm.
no, I didn't get a reason for that either.
Yeah, like I don't understand. Like at the end, I think they were able to say something like, you know, he said something along the lines of like, no, you would be more like Talade. What is that name, girl? Come on, Talades. What is that?
Timothy.
Timothy the vampire.
This is how my brain works. Is that like
but
I will
you know
simplify
what?
it.
It's hilarious, and we should just do that.
I know her name is Saeris, but whenever I would text about her, I'd be like, Sarah's being stupid or whatever.
Yeah.
And then Kingfisher, bro.
You don't even want to see my notes.
I mean, I don't know if we want to go into this right now because we're talking about world building, so I'll save it for later. But I think that part of it might be that if Malcolm turns you, you might be like a sophisticated vampire versus if...
Also, the more power you have, the more ability you have to...
I think, and I might be wrong, but I thought I might have read something about like, oh, Timothy was turned by Malcolm.
Yeah.
And so he's like functional. But all of the other little biters, like if they bite you, that you become decrepit. Okay, so what are your thoughts on the monsters or the vampires that we saw? And I'm not talking about Malcolm, the high level vampires. I'm talking about like the
foot soldiers.
Yeah, the grubby ones.
I like the way that they were introduced. I actually love the way they were introduced.
Yes.
I love that they were chill.
I pictured that actually.
Yeah, I did. I like they were at dinner, and then all
they
of a
broke
sudden,
through this long grand window. That's what I saw in my head.
Yeah. And then there's like and she doesn't even know about them. That's the thing. Like, so she's like looking at these like weird freaking creatures that are trying to kill her now that look awful. Like they are literally described as tall, patchy with stringy hair and white waxy skin, black veins, elongated yellow fangs. I'd be running. I'd be like, what is that?
Well, I would also like to say, for as much as I criticize Violet, I would die in 3 seconds in any and every of these books.
Same.
I'm not a fast runner. I have poor upper body strength. I don't know how to hold any weapons. Like
My only saving grace would be having a dragon.
no, my saving grace would be not being there because I don't make stupid decisions like these people. But if I was there, I would get eaten, thrown off something, killed, turned into a vampire. Like I have 0 chance of surviving any of this. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Well, no, this is not world building. I'll hold off. I don't want to keep interrupting this stuff. So, okay. I thought the monsters were good too. And here's the thing. I think that the author has a lot of potential with her world building because I read the Empyrean series consecutively, like back to back to back.
Yeah, you did.
And then I read this. And when I started this book, and throughout all of it, maybe I liked it so much because it was a palate cleanser for me. But I thought she was a good author. Like, I liked her writing. I liked how she described things. It wasn't too intricate where, like, I couldn't picture, like, that obstacle course that they have to do.
Gauntlet.
The gauntlet, I was like, I pictured blankness. Like, I could not understand what the fuck was going on. I didn't have that issue in this book where I was able to picture, like, the monsters breaking into the dining room. So I think that the author has a lot of potential, really, with how she describes the world, the events that she does. I just think that...
I'll give her that.
I think she
agree.
needs to focus a little... I think she focused too much on the romance in this book. And I think if she had kind of pulled away from that and focused more on the central theme, the main conflict, that would have probably... And, like, I think if she had focused just a little bit more on developing Saeris as a character...
Yeah.
Which is fine. This is the first book. She could be a shitty character. I'm just saying, like, these are things that I feel like if she changes for the second book, it could be great.
Yeah, I would agree with you, and I also think that this is why I do have the red mic. I didn't love this book, but I see the potential in her writing, and I might drag my feet to get to the second one. I'm gonna be honest. Like when it comes out, I'm gonna be like, I'll read it. But I have an open mind. And if the second book comes in strong, I'll come back and be like, I actually love this book, whatever it is, like I'm not gonna be someone that's gonna be like, no, I didn't like it, so I'm not gonna like the rest. So I do see potential. I do agree with you. Yeah.
But I do understand where you're coming from with Saeris and the world building. I do agree.
Yeah.
It falls off basically entirely for me after they
Leave the castle. I would agree. Yeah. It was disappointing.
With
after
small like, exceptions like that, like the dinner scene where they break in, or like at the lake. I did picture the lake.
That's why I feel like I have such a, like, there's glimpses to really great descriptive writing. Yeah. And then I kind of get lost.
Yes, I agree.
So, I would agree with that. How do you feel about alchemists? Because I love,
I don't know what an alchemist is. I mean, somebody that like plays with materials or like uses materials to like make stuff.
So, I actually wrote it down so I can say it.
I will say, I found it unreasonable for them to ask this human who knows nothing about phase, nothing about shit, to like whatever it is, these like 500,000 gold rings. But I was like, but there's not even a book that tells me how to do it. Correct. So I found that really unreasonable. I was very upset with Kingfisher for the majority of this book, which I think we could touch on that when we wrap up world building, because I do have, give me that fucking red mic. I do have some things to say about Kingfisher, but I'm just kidding. It's not like that. But I thought it was very unfair that they expected this girl
that randomly is an alchemist,
who there have been no fae in her her kingdom for years. Who there's no books that teach you how to like mix quicksilver with relics and things like. There's no way to know how to do this, and I'm supposed to figure it out. And you guys are all calling me a dumbass all day, every day. So
she is,
but like, how do you expect a dumbass to do this? Then?
Correct. No, but you know what? I'll tell you this though. That's another problem that I have with this book and the writing of this character. I don't think this was first book material. I don't think she should have figured it out in the first book.
I agree with that.
I don't think that you come into a world, you're dumb, you don't know anything, and then you don't even know you're an alchemist, and like you have all of these things you have to learn, but then at the end of the book you figure out how to do it in the ring, like.
Mm-hmm. And why is it as easy as talking to the Quicksilver? Are you serious?
Don't even get me started on the Quicksilver.
I liked the concept of the Quicksilver. Honestly. I thought it was really cool.
Quicksilver.
I loved that it drove Kingfucker insane. I loved that. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah. And I like the concept of the Quicksilver. I don't like how quickly it was for her to use. Like,
I don't like how quick it was for her to use, and I don't like how she figured it out. Mm-hmm. I would have preferred something else. Like I don't know. Maybe in the next book they find this ancient text, or like she has to like. She finds somebody who's
tribulations to learn about it.
I don't know. I just would have preferred for it to not be like, hey, can you get in this sword? Okay. Yeah. Tell me a secret. Like, it feels like almost like, what kind of transaction is that? Like, okay, just sing you a song, tell you a secret. It should be something like, I don't know. If you're going to go that route, make it drastic, because this is a powerful weapon and all you're doing is trading secrets and songs for it.
It's weird.
I mean, this is the first book, so we might see ramifications in the second.
Exactly.
I don't know how many there planned to be, but I did have an issue with that specific part. Yeah. As far as an alchemist, I really don't know what they are.
So they're supposed to be able to not only look for immortality, but they're supposed to be able to generate power from everyday things like metals or gold and I've always loved the idea of alchemists. That's why this was so frustrating for me. It's just that like I feel like it had all of the makings for me to be obsessed with this book. Mm-hmm. You brought me vampires, you brought me alchemists. Like I'm such a nerd for those things. Mm-hmm. And like Saeris. So
I mean, was she your only problem? Because I had a problem with Kingfisher.
I have a huge problem with Kingfisher. Okay. But I think that this goes into like my idea of big issues with the book. So why don't we do this? Let's rate. How would you rate from 1 through 5 world building?
Like a 4.
Really? I give it a 3.
I would give it a 4 because I finished such a frustrating arc because it was consecutive. I think if maybe I had spaced out my reading of the Empyrean Saga, I wouldn't have been so drained by the end of it. But it was 3 books, not small books, of having to read Violet's perspective, who I hate Violet. I think she's horrible. Watch the previous episode if you want. And by the ways, I could talk way more than I did in that episode. I think I need just a full episode of Violet with that glued to my mouth because
we can do that. We can arrange that.
I can go on and on and on about her. But I finished this series so tired because I also didn't love Rebecca's writing. I felt like she cursed unnecessarily. And I love when I see cursing in books because I feel like it's real. But I just felt like she was trying to be too edgy and urban in her book. I didn't like her writing. I didn't like how Violet was, period. So I finished this book so stressed out and confused because I didn't understand a lot of the military stuff. And then I started reading this and I was like, wait, I get it. I understand what I'm reading. This is palpable. My brain is tranquila. I feel calm. I don't feel confused. I don't feel angry. And so I enjoyed it. And I pictured this world pretty well. Whereas in the Fourth Wing series, I struggled to picture things. Yeah. Because I didn't feel like I was given enough descriptions. Here, in the beginning, I pictured things pretty well. Yeah. And then it fell off. So that's why I would say 4, because I really was enjoying the world building in the beginning of this book. Okay. And I texted you and I was like, I'm really into the book so far.
Yeah, I did. You gave me false hope. I'm sorry. I'm just kidding. Okay, so I give it a solid 3 just because I feel like, I don't know, the map wasn't mapping for me. Okay, so let's move on to your favorite characters. Because I think we need a little bit of a positivity vibe before I dive it in with my big issues.
My favorite characters were Lorith and Carrion.
Okay.
That's it.
I would agree.
I liked Lorith. He seemed very I just feel like he was a good vibe. I feel like I would have a good time around him. He made me feel at ease, tranquil. Mm-hmm. And then Carrion, I just thought he was funny. I thought he was a little bit of an asshole sometimes, but in a funny way. I liked how he would poke at Saeris. I liked how Kingfisher was clearly irritated because they had sex, and Carrion, whether he noticed it or not, was like, well, I'm still gonna fuck with you. And he would just torment them. And I thought that was funny.
Yeah. Okay, so for me, it's going to be super quick. I could not give a shit about Lorith. I didn't. I mean, I understand that he was there for comic relief, and I did enjoy that. I'm sure he's a good vibe. I could not care less. Mm-hmm. I did love Carrion, and what I loved so much, Callie, right? Callie Hart. What's her name? Mm-hmm. Okay, good. Okay. Callie, you did great with this Carrion guy, because if she would have been the heir, I would have been like, no.
Oh, yeah.
Nope. Well, it's bad enough that she's now a queen.
I am wondering, though. Well, no, actually, I already got the answer to that. I was going to say, I was wondering, is Kingfisher's dad, very distantly related, to her? Because why does she have alchemy in her if she's, a human? But at the end of the book, you see that the god was like, you're supposed to be Fae, but I made you a human. So I guess that's why.
Yeah.
But yes, I am glad that she's not the heir to...
Thank God. So I did like Carrion. I not only liked the fact that he knew all along.
Yeah, that was awesome.
That was such a
and
great
hints. You see hints.
Yes.
Which you don't pick up on.
No, he was so calm.
He gives her no, because Fae are like this, and she's like, how do you even know that? And he's like, oh, my grandma. You don't remember she used to talk about all these books and stuff,
whatever.
And she was like, yeah, but there's stories. How do you remember that?
He's so calm. He's so collected. He blends in so well.
He does. He's a great character.
Attitude.
Yeah. And he's funny. He's just so chill.
Funny. He's so funny to me.
He's never stressed.
And he's not scared. He comes in and he's like, I know I'm that guy, basically. Mm-hmm. And he does. He is that guy, mm-hmm. which is awesome. So that's my favorite. I don't have much after that.
What about least liked characters?
Well, let's get into this, because here's the thing.
Okay.
I fucking hate Saeris.
You do?
Yeah, I do. I hate her. But I have other notes to this.
Okay.
Okay. I think that this is going to lead, I'm going to go down series as a big issue, but it's actually one of my biggest critiques of this book is how forced the relationships are.
Ooh, okay, wait. Let's just list who you dislike, and then let's go into this because I agree with this, and I do want to talk about that.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so who did you? Everyone? You disliked everyone?
Did you see that? In my notes, Carter wrote least liked characters, and I put everyone, smiley face. No. Okay, so my least favorite characters were series. Kingfisher.
Right.
I didn't like Danya either. But at least she was standing on something.
No.
Okay.
What was she fucking standing on?
On the fact that she's been alone for 100 years fighting this fucking shit.
And what does that have to do with me?
I know.
You're a soldier, bitch. You think you're the only one? Lorth has been here for 100 years. So has fucking, what's his name? Renfist. Yeah. You're not the only one. Shut the fuck up. And also, 100 years is like a blink of an eye to you. So shut your stupid fucking fat ass mouth. No, she was a problem.
I think that's true. Okay.
She's a problem. Look.
Do you want the red mic?
Give me that shit. No, look. Okay. I just was like, you're intentionally problematic because how is it that we're going to the only possible saving grace, the witches, and we're like, but shut your mouth because we already have enough conflict as it is.
Oh my god, that part enraged me.
We already have a bunch of conflict. So
that's so
cállate la puta boca.
Yes.
How is it that you know this and then you still go and you make some stupid bitch comment? Like, come on, bro. Come on. You are intentionally problematic. And I was like, immediately, I was like, you're gonna be a problem when she tried to like come at Kingfisher with a sword. But fine, whatever. I don't give a fuck about that.
Yeah.
Then it was, what was it that the sword got like fixed and she gave it to Lorith because it was like, no, I'm gonna go with him. And then it was that, and it was just like, you know what, Danya, who's gonna behead you because you're just gonna ruin everything. Honestly,
it's so true. Yeah.
So
okay. So Danya
disliked her. She was a piece of shit the whole time. Not one single good thing that she did. I didn't really dislike anyone. Everybody else. Well, no. I had issues with Kingfisher.
Well, no, he's a huge part of my dislikes.
Yeah, I think that wraps it up for
huge issues. Yeah,
for like my disliked characters. Yeah. You disliked pretty much everyone.
I did. I had a problem with pretty much everybody.
What about Renfist?
I did not feel like he had a backbone.
I can see that.
And I'm not saying that I don't need not backbone characters. Like, you don't have to be in your face.
Right.
I just feel like he was written very poorly. Like, how did you go through all these things by yourself without Kingfisher? Like, and you still think, like, no, we must do what everything Kingfisher does. Like, I just feel like it was a poorly written character.
I can see where you're coming from.
And I also disliked how quick, well, let's get into the relationships because I think it's another issue for me. I'm going to go right into it. Okay, so this is another issue. I dislike the Ren relationship with Saeris. You don't know her. You don't know him. And then you guys are all here just talking about like, oh, this is what Kingfisher needs and this is what we need to do. It bothered me. And I think even like there was a part where Ren is forcing Kingfisher to have dinner with her so that they can see her like a real person. What? Who cares?
Yeah. I didn't get that either.
Like, you are hundreds of years old.
I understood.
This little human bitch just came into your world, and Kingfisher has to see her like a real person.
Well, I understood the behind the scenes of that was more so like, I understand his intention where he was like, he's not going to stop being a huge dick to you until he sees you as a person. That's what I got from it. I could be wrong.
Why do you care?
Well, that's my thing. It's like, why do you give a fuck?
Correct.
So I understand the intention, but the reasoning, I don't know why.
And not only that, though, it was the way that it was written that really pissed me off. Because he came up like, I'm like your big brother, and I care about you, and we're friends now, and I care about you, Saeris, like a person. Yeah. And I'm like,
but you don't.
Why? Why do you care about this random human girl that you don't know anything about, and like, you have a war to win?
Well, but she is a way to win that war. So maybe he was like,
guess what? You can put her in a dungeon, and I'm sure as hell still gonna think she's gonna try to get out of that dungeon. So why is everybody trying to be so freaking nice? And I know why. You want to know why?
The main character?
No, because, and I smelled this a mile away. What a coincidence that they're mates.
Oh my god, yeah, of course. Of course. Of course.
What a coincidence.
No, but we all saw that coming.
But it's so disappointingly written. Again,
Well, I think that this speaks to a bigger issue that we have.
Yes,
which
and
is,
I think it's another podcast episode. But
well, yeah, but you know what? Do you want to talk about big issues now, or do you want to still talk about the relationships?
I think it's part of the big issue, so I'll just go into that really
let's
quick.
sidebar what
Okay.
this
Yeah.
big issue is. I just want to like highlight the big issue with that you're talking about is repetitive themes, and
Correct.
we'll get into
Yeah.
that
In a
later
second.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
agree.
go ahead.
Okay.
Relationship wise, what other?
Relationship wise, what else did I not like?
I could
did
tell
not
you
like-
I didn't like Kingfisher and Saeris' relationship.
No, at all. I think that he was an asshole, which is fine because that's what you expect.
But I think he took it too far.
But you know what? I don't even blame him for that part. Like, I didn't like that, but guess what? This is what I'm going to tell you. This is where I come in. Let me tell you something.
With my red mic.
At least fucking Kingfisher was for real. Now tell me why Saeris got attracted to that. Tell me why she came into this
I don't
Fae
know.
realm and was like, Kingfisher and I, we're not really
Masochist.
allies. We're not even friends. So why does he want to fuck me?
I don't know because
First of all, why are you even having this conversation? Like, he's an asshole, which he has a right to be.
no, he doesn't. You don't know me.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, like, regardless, like, what do they know about Fae? They live forever, so they are a lot cockier. They have a lot less care in the world
Yeah,
for
but I don't give a
random
fuck. You
human
don't talk to me
things,
how you talk to me.
which is true. But then she didn't show up in that way. She
Right.
started off that way.
And that's where you see the 180 because in the first few chapters, she's
Yes.
like, I will cut you to carry you.
Correct.
And then Kingfisher, like, yeah, she has a big bark, but zero bite.
Zero
And
bite.
here's my thing is that, like, okay, I understand. I first of all love enemies to lovers. I do.
When done right.
But I don't like abuse to lovers because the way he talked to her in front of people. First of all, I'm already a fucking human in a fully Fae world. Nobody else here is human. You all think I'm stupid, weak, fucking irrelevant, a liability. You guys all think that I'm a piece of shit already. So for you to keep fucking talking to me like I am all those things and reminding everybody, dude, pull up. Like I would have had such a fucking issue with him. There would have been zero attraction for me.
yeah.
Because I don't know who the fuck you're talking to. I really don't.
But look, even she says it. She's like, we're like 2 or 250 pages in, and she goes, Kingfisher and I were not friends. At best, we were loose allies who irritated each other. So why would this Fae guy, that's hundreds of years old, be something you're attracted to?
Because of the mate bond.
Ew.
Well,
Just
and so that's my
ew,
thing.
like-
I don't like the way he treated her, and it's not because I'm like, I do love enemies to lover. I like when they bicker. I like when they
Yes.
fight. I like even like Rowan and Aelin. They were going at it hardcore in Air of Fire, where he was. It got to a point where I was like, dude, fuck you.
Yeah.
But I feel like he didn't cross certain lines, and
No.
Kingfisher humiliated her.
Yeah.
And made fun of her in intimate ways, like when
Yeah.
when you know they were like making out and she was getting her scent all over him. He like laughed at her later. That would have
He was
mortified
like,
me.
oh, you look at you, slut. You're
That-
always like ready. And I'm like,
That would have
What?
mortified me, and that I would have never ever
Ah.
had anything to do with him after
Agreed.
that. I think
Agreed.
that there's like zero self-respect for her
Yeah.
with him because it's like, what the fuck? I think that he took it too far. I think that, and I know that he was intending for her to hate him,
Yeah.
but like, if it had been me, job well done because I fucking hate you. And fuck this
Correct.
mating bond. I don't give a fuck. Take your tattoos off, which by the way is another big issue for me. And I don't know if I told you about it, but when he like gives her tattoos, and I know he didn't intend it, I would have been hysterical because like, I didn't choose
Didn't
that
bother
shit
me
on
that
me.
much.
No, it bothered me because like, to me, I'm like, this girl has no tattoos on her.
yeah, true.
So it's like, if she was tatted up, fine. But she had nothing. And it's
Yeah.
like, for my first tattoo to be a fucking bird on my tit that I didn't ask for, that I don't even want this shit. Like, what the fuck? I would
Yeah.
have been hysterically crying because I would have been like, I didn't even get to choose this. Like, this is
know.
my body. And the bigger issue for me here, and we'll talk about this with the big issues, is her freedom, her ability, like her free will, not her freedom, her ability to move her limbs if she felt like it versus him restricting that. I have a ginormous problem with that.
Yes.
And I know it's a trope, but it's a trope I hate.
Yeah, I agree with you.
So anything else on like relationship wise that you want to expand
Yeah,
on?
so then what my big bother is that he was an asshole, but then I hate how much he turns into like stupid. Like she sits like it's just the kind it just felt
Stupid
so
how, though?
forced. It felt
Like he
so
turned stupid how though?
well, like this, like where he's like talking to Karen at one point and he was like, "You should call her Majesty." And I'm like,
yeah. Okay.
boy, you're not just saying that after the way that you did.
Okay, yeah.
You know, like, come on.
I get what you're saying.
And then it bothered me so much how much relationship, like, I'm just going to go into that big issue and then I'm going to finish. But relationships were so forced. Like, her randomly sitting in the wife place of the dining table,
Yeah.
eye roll.
Wait.
When she goes to that.
Can we segue on that? You know that little like creature that was like helping?
Oh, yeah.
I did not picture that thing in my head at all.
I know. It's so
I was
funny.
like, what is it? Like a little piece of coal
like a
walking
little
around?
elf.
I was like,
a little
I couldn't picture it.
coal.
I couldn't picture it. I was like, I pictured a coal with like arms and legs. I was like, I don't know what I'm supposed to be seeing in my head.
You should try to draw them.
No.
Oh my god, you should try to
No.
draw them and see. Like, that should be a segment where, like, this is what Karna thinks she's done. And then we'll AI it.
It's gonna be horrendous.
That is so much fun. We should do that.
Maybe.
I'm gonna look into that.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So,
So
that
that's
it was
one thing.
forced. What
It was
else?
totally forced. And then I dislike when she goes into that main town and that Wendy girl sniffs her and she's like, not just a friend I see. Mates, I know. And then
I took that more as like
this is the other
you
thing
guys
that
have
I
had
feel.
sex.
Yeah.
Which, by
I
the
mean-
way, is I don't like that. I don't know if maybe just because I'm a little more of like a private person in that. But I don't like that everybody could just tell I've had sex with him. Like, my God.
I know, I hate that. I really just think that that shouldn't be the case. I don't
So
know
wait,
how to
so
deal with that.
all the fays just know who's fucking who? Like,
Yeah.
you just all know it. Like, oh, you
Yep.
banged him. Like, the fuck is that?
I know.
What the fuck is that?
It's horrible.
I would be pissed all
There's
day.
no privacy.
I would look. My audio's like super high, and we were just talking before this. How like we were testing the mics, and I was like, "Why is my audio
Why
always
is
like
my
this?"
audio so... No, you just gotta get mad, girl.
I know. When I get mad, that shit goes boom. But it bothers me.
I know. I agree with that.
I think
It's so dumb, too. It's like, oh, I have a perfect scent. Okay.
I don't even take it like that. I just take it as like you can smell that we've had sex, and that's private. Like,
Yeah, there's
I
no
don't.
privacy.
Whatever. It just
But
bothers me.
I think there's just two other things that I feel like it's forcing, right? So it was like, there's a point where the vampires are coming across, and she's like, I wasn't hanging back here pacing in a tent while my friends and the rest.
Oh,
like,
I didn't like that part.
your
You don't know these
friends.
people. What's Fenris's last name?
Your friends.
What's Fenris's last name?
Nobody knows.
What's
Do we know
Everlynn's
that?
favorite color?
I don't even know. Yes, though. Like, no, like, and this is another thing that bothers me. It bothers me how quickly the female main character is meant to sacrifice herself and try to save people that she doesn't know.
Yeah.
She doesn't know. That's just the main point of it. Like, you don't know them. And you're here like, this is my friend, blah, 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 blah. And then you're like, I want to stay here with my friends.
You know, I think that this
Forced relationship.
I think that this dives into the thought process for me of not well-developed characters because
Yeah.
we're doing a reread right now of the Hunger Games for the next episode, and I see Katniss and I'm like, I don't have any complaints about you because you are a flawed character,
Yeah.
but you make sense.
Yeah. I think it would be really odd for you guys to see a red mic in the Hunger Games because epic.
I just feel like I think of Aelin, and I'm like,
Yeah.
Aelin would never be like, these are my friends. She'd be like, fuck these people, I don't know them. Like when she goes to Maeve's castle, and she's like, I'll set this shit on fire, and she's like, set it on fire, it's stone, and she's like, the people aren't, and she's like, I don't give a fuck about anybody here. Or
Yeah.
Katniss, how she's like, Peeta, in
At
the
the
beginning,
end of
she's
the
like,
day.
Peeta, I'm gonna have to kill you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to kill you. You're from my district, but I gotta kill you. And it's just like, yes.
Yeah. Be about the person
It
you're
is
about.
what it is. It is
Agreed.
what the fuck it is. I don't know you.
Agreed.
I don't know. It's me or you. I don't know you.
Exactly.
And I feel like a lot of FMCs, Violet, that shit got so loud, are just like, everybody, save everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody and everything. And these are all my friends and these are all my people. And it's like, you don't have a connection to any of these people. So I get this because I got very upset with this too, where I was just like, you've been trying to run away this whole time. And now they're your friends.
You've
been trying to go
I'm
home.
not going to stay in this tent.
One of my friends. Okay, name them. What friends? Go.
Literally what
I'll
friends?
put my hands up. Go. Fingers.
Yeah.
I did get frustrated with that.
Yeah.
What else?
I think that's it for my
I was
relationship.
like, what else? Because now I'm riled up.
Okay.
Okay.
That's
So do you want to segue into big issues?
yes. So big issues.
Okay.
Um,
All right. So big issues. All right. Kingfisher is my biggest issue.
okay.
I
I'm
know
here for
I
it.
already talked about this, but I feel like he took things too far.
I think he's disgusting.
I did not like how he treated her. And okay, in many ways, can I say okay more like anymore? Fuck. I'm like, okay. Anyways,
We're here for it.
so I don't like how he treated her. I do understand enemies to lovers. I do understand pushing people away, but he degraded her, humiliated her, talked to her like she was a literal piece of
Slut,
shit,
like,
a slut,
you know.
irrelevant, stupid, everything you can think of and more. He talked to her like that, and then she forgave him, and didn't even say I forgive you. She just kind of like sat with it and kept it moving. Which, by the ways, in a real relationship, is a ginormous red flag because he's gonna continue to treat you how you let him. But whatever. This is a fantasy book, so not the case. But I had a big issue with him, and my biggest fucking issue with him and this book when they make the deal where he's like, okay, I'll try and get your brother. I understand that she didn't know, because I wouldn't know either, that like you need to be very careful with the verbiage of what you agree to in a deal.
Yeah.
So he finds Carrie on and he's like, sorry bitch, that's all I could do, now let's go. And now she has to obey his commands. Oh my god, that set me on fucking fire, because when he's like, stand here, don't move, and don't make a noise. And she's trying to move, and her body doesn't let her, and she's trying to make a noise. I promise you, he would have come back
forgive that.
to a corpse, because I would have had a stroke. Because I would have been beside myself with like, what do you mean I can't control my own body? And it's not the same to me for him to be like, stay here, don't make a noise, and he like duct tapes her mouth and locks the door. I would have been pissed. But I would have been like, whatever. And like, I get it.
Yeah.
But for you to take my free will, my autonomy, oh my God. That shit pissed me off. And then he did it again, I think 2 more times.
Yeah. I'll tell you this, though. I'm going to be like, kind of like,
Devil's advocate?
yeah. Like, I honestly, I did not like that as a me, but I think it shows a good, promising author to make you hate someone that much.
Yeah. Because, bruh.
It's giving me like
I would get
what's this
sweaty
guy?
and hot when I would read it, because like I was
It
just
gave
so
me
angry.
so much hate, like almost like Joffrey from
Oh
Game of
my
Thrones,
God.
like but that's such great writing.
It is, and
Like,
that's why I
it's
think she has so much potential.
You hate him so much.
I
you
think
have
she
things
has
to say.
great potential. I
Yeah.
think what she suffers from is repetitive tropes, and we'll get it.
I think that she has the ability to have a really great writing style. I think that she needs to develop.
I think that there's a lot of great elements in this series. I really liked it. I do think it's an individual, like, perspective on certain things. Again, I know I haven't delved into like all the romantic, but it did feel very different.
Yeah.
I enjoyed what I saw as far as potential.
Okay.
And I do think she is a great author. Potentially.
I think she has potential. I won't take that away from her. I think that this is kind of like a statement for later conversations, but I do think that you gotta find new tropes.
Yeah, I agree.
You have to
Too
find
many repetitive themes.
so many repetitive themes. It's giving like you might be a great author, but you keep like making it a repetitive thing we've seen before. That's an issue I have. That's a big issue for me.
I do want to say, if I was Saeris, and I think that this might speak to my nature, because I know we already know that I'm unhinged and I'm Hispanic, so I have, we have that Latin
here.
fire in us where it's like, who said that kind of thing? Like, where we're real quick to be like, what? So the moment, if I was Saeris, that I realized that he needed me to be alive for his fucking 5,000 rings, I would have been like, bet. And I would have made his life miserable.
As she should have.
Miserable.
As the beginning of a series in the book would have.
If he was like, after I told him, don't ever do that fucking shit to me again, of like controlling my body, and he does do it again, where he's like, you're not getting out of this bed. Listen. as soon as I got out of that bed, I would have opened the window and jumped out of it just because I would have been like, I know this is going to give him a heart attack and he's going to save me. And that would have been the rest of the book. Me finding new ways to atormentarlo.
Piss you off.
Yes.
As you
Because
should.
I would have been like, you think that I'm just going to fucking like, you say sit and I like sit and wag my tail. Absolutely not, bitch.
No.
Do not control me. That was a really big problem for me.
Yeah.
I got very upset with it. And it made me be like, fuck you. And another issue that I had with Kingfisher was Little Ocean. Okay. I know in the end of the book where he talks about like, which I don't even think that that's a good reason, but he's like, an OSHA is a butterfly that dies within a day. And he made fun of her at first. He was like, you're like a little OSHA, useless, weak, fucking pussy bitch, basically.
Yeah.
And then at the end, he's like, no, but you don't understand because Fae, we go from far and wide and we make this impossible trek to like get to the OSHAs to like protect them because they mate and then they die. So OSHA means special or special to me, whatever. I don't give a fuck. And
No.
the moment I was like,
Stupid.
my name is Saeris, not Little OSHA, and he called me Little OSHA again, I would have been like, you know what your name is? Face fucker, king fucker, fish fucker. Like, I would have just...
Fish face.
Fish face, fucker fish. Like, I would have just ripped
So,
into his name. Left and right. He would have been like, never speak to me again. That would have been a command of his. Because I don't understand why she's so complicit. Or I don't
know.
even think that that's the definition where she just like lets him do whatever she wants. But like, I don't know why she's so submissive with like, she gets mad acutely, tells him he's an asshole, and then just lets him keep doing whatever the fuck it is that she was
That's
mad
why
at.
she's a sucky character.
I
But
agree. in that
here's the other
aspect.
thing. Here's the thing. I just like I brought up the idea of hating a character in good writing. I think Kingfisher gave you a reason to hate him.
Yeah.
I hate the way he turned around and became a dumbass and being like, you should call her Majesty. Shut up. Shut the fuck up.
It was also like,
But
from
it is
one day to
hatred.
the next.
Yeah, it was over. Well, that's my whole issue with some of these books, but whatever. Anyways, Kingfisher was made to be hated. I don't think the author meant to hate Saeris. And so that's what I'm saying. There's a difference between writing a hateful character because they're written correctly versus hating a character because they were written incorrectly and you're giving different vibes. Kingfisher was an asshole and turned nicer.
Yeah.
And I can deal with that when instead of being a strong female character lead and then becoming a little bitch.
Okay.
So, huge issue for me. But
I
anyways,
agree. I do agree with what your analysis of that was, though.
Yeah.
I do think that she wrote intentionally for people to hate Kingfisher, and I don't think that she intended that for Saeris. I think that...
agreed.
I think she just tried to... I think she stopped focusing on Saeris. I think she focused on everything else after
Yep.
she made it through the Quicksilver.
Which is stupid. Okay, so are you excited for the second book?
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
I'm interested. I don't know where it's gonna go. I have desires, I guess, like that I want for the second book, but I think that I saw somewhere, and I might be wrong, that it's gonna be about trying to get her brother.
Oh my god.
Heron?
Who knows?
Whatever the fuck his name is. I think that she's gonna have to try and go back and get his brother, and also she's gonna have to figure out like being a queen of vampires.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit. I think I'm going to shift the gear a little bit, and I just want to go into a little bit about the ending. So here's the thing. I did enjoy the ending. I feel like
Me
it
too.
definitely made up for my stress in some of the perspectives. However, I do think that it comes with criticism from my end. So one of the things I want to talk about is a little bit around the underlying themes that I'm seeing. I'm seeing a lot of like he was held captive. He did things he wasn't okay doing. I thought it was brilliant to not let the coin hit the ground. I thought that was awesome of Malcolm. I actually did like Malcolm as a villain. I think that it was interesting that the idea behind, the coin toss and the fact that he can't call them into battle until the coin hits is interesting. But nonetheless, would Kingfisher even be an adversary to Malcolm? Like, is it even equal in battle.
I don't think that was ever explored because
No.
we didn't even really get the opportunity. I feel like what history tells me with romantasy writers is that Kingfisher's just OP and he's gonna be able to be anybody and do anything and blah 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 blah
Which
blah.
is possible. But here's something else, and I wrote it here. Malcolm created a lethal labyrinth. Put a coin somewhere in the middle that's supposed to land.
Which, by the way, I loved this part.
Yeah, it was a great part.
Yeah.
I think I experienced it with it. I saw it.
Yeah.
Got back to like great environment writing. I saw the labyrinth. I saw where they were running at.
Can I say though, repetitive theme because Avatar, the first book, she's in a labyrinth also.
I mean,
But I liked this.
aren't we all trying to be like Sarah J. I mean, isn't she that girl? But yes, I completely agree. With you.
But that being said, it didn't bother me. I
It didn't.
really liked
This
part.
one didn't bother me as much.
What
as
bothered
much
me
as
was like the nightmare.
Yes, I remember I pointed that out to
Yeah.
you. The nightmare. Oh my god, all the male characters have nightmares, and the girl comes in and saves them, and they all tend to be with shadows. Ugh, get something new, guys. Come on.
I agree.
I'm gonna have to write a book of my own. I'm just kidding. I'm not hating.
you
I
should.
can't even imagine being an author. I know it's hard. So like, if any author does see this, like we are.
This is not meant to be ripping into your book. It's just
Yeah, I think you did way
critiques.
more than I could have done. So you're still good. So this is the other thing, right? So all he had to do is to end the suffering was pick up the coin and whatever. Why does Malcolm hate Kingfisher so much?
okay. Wait here. Okay, so.
Does he love him?
I was like, does he have a thing for him? Because he
He
keeps
has a
being
thing
like
for him.
my love,
My
and
love.
then,
And then he's
and
like,
then-
oh, the mate is some lowly human, blah,
and
blah,
then,
blah.
No, and then he like, I don't remember what he says to Saeris, but he's basically like, he's not yours, bitch. Like he looks at her as like, you don't even know kind
How
of thing.
can it be you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like, is he like in love with Kingfisher?
so.
Like, what is your obsession with
Yeah,
him?
I think so. I think that's the underlying, like it's not said, but I enjoy
Well,
the
I wish
fact
that would have
we're
been
all
more
kind of
explored
thinking-
because he's just killed. So we don't really even get to dive into that.
I bet you that they're gonna dive in some kind of trauma level, like some kind of like there's something there for sure.
Yeah, I think so.
Because even when they were describing that she was like, "Oh, Kingfisher is so, he's so poised," and like he's like having them talk shit about him. He doesn't react, and he only flinches when that guy calls him my love.
Yeah.
I'm like,
It was like notes, like little moments here and there where I was like, what's going on here? I feel like there's more to this than what we're seeing, than what we know.
Yeah, which I'm okay with. I don't think that's bad writing.
Yeah.
I think that is not a plot hole. I think that is built on in a series.
I agree.
What
I
do I
don't
think is a plot hole? I think a plot hole is rushed fucking relationships. Rushed, like Saeris being best friends with Everlane or falling in love with Kingfisher. No. That's a plot hole because I think you're not giving yearning. They're not getting to know somebody. You're not going through the pros and cons.
Here's something I'll say about that too is like love takes time.
Yes.
You don't just fall in love within the like I don't know if
Just because you're mates does not mean you're in love.
it takes time.
Yes, it takes time.
You could be infatuated.
Yes.
You can really like somebody, but
Yep.
to just say like I'm in love with you.
I'm in
I
love
will
with you.
sacrifice my life and my world for you.
You're not hundreds of years
You-
old if you're saying some stupid shit like that. Like, are you
You've known her
serious?
for like a month and a half.
Yes.
That's not enough.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, this is where I feel like it is a plot hole. Like, you're not plotting this love story.
But I think
correctly.
that speaks to a bigger problem because even with like Throne of Glass, I love Throne of Glass. The whole series took place within a year and a half. That's nothing. Not a lot of time for everything that happened to happen.
No, it doesn't.
Look it up. It's like a year and a half or something like that. Google it because I don't want to like say the wrong thing in here. But like, okay, Fourth Wing.
That would make me so sad.
Fourth Wing.
Fourth Wing happens way too quickly.
How much
too.
time has passed? A year and a half ish, right?
Yeah.
Throne of Glass books, excluding the prequel, are estimated to span roughly 1 year. And this is a romantasy thing I've noticed, where everything happens very quickly, and that bothers me
Yeah.
because it's not realistic. If you've ever fallen in love with somebody or been in love, you know that like you can feel like you're in love,
Yeah.
but you're not.
No.
You're infatuated,
Correct.
and you will know when it's true love,
I'm in love with
later
these
on.
series. Please be so for real.
And it also happened from one day to the next. You had dinner and then that's it. You fell in love with her. Like I don't understand.
Yeah.
And then there was no greater discussion because if I was her, first of all, I would never have gone that far. He would have been like, I love you. And I'd be like, get the fuck out of my face. Fuck you. I remember all these things you did to me.
1000%.
But let's say that she was like, okay, they never sat down and she was like, you humiliated me. Like, you can't do shit like this to me.
No.
I'm gonna forgive this because there is something here, right? They never had a candid conversation where she was like, for whatever reason, I feel a pull to you. But like, you pissed me off. You've done these things to me.
Mean.
You've hurt me. You've humiliated me. You've made me feel less than. Like, she never vocalizes any of those things.
No.
And
which is why she's a shitty character.
And he's never like, I'm sorry for the shit that I did. Like, he does say, like, I did it because I was trying to push you away.
That's enough for me, to be
like,
honest with me, because you hate a character. I can hate Kingfisher, and it was still, like, okay. But Saeris is just not giving.
I agree. It is
lead.
mostly Saeris.
It is her. Mm-hmm. So I'm thinking she sucks in every way of the world.
I know.
And I think that this is a bad plot. Big issues, big issues, big issues. And I know I've said it a million times, but I'm going to keep saying it because here's another thing. I really dislike that I enjoyed the Quicksilver theme. I enjoyed the fact that it's a being, almost, right? Like beings. I enjoyed that there was suffering in King
Belicon?
No.
Oh, Kingfisher?
King fucks fate. Whatever.
Oh.
Yeah, Kingfisher.
Oh, Kingfucker.
Yes.
Fish fucker. Fuck
that
face.
he has, like, the problem and whatever. What did I hate? I hated when the book was ending and he was like, oh, we found a way. We found a way to tame it so he won't go crazy.
Wait, because that pissed me off so much too. Hold on. Can I interject?
Correct. Go ahead.
You're 1800 years old, right?
Correct.
And
Okay.
nobody thought to ever ask a witch. You've been looking for a fucking cure for 1800 years.
This is what I mean by not a good plot hole.
Of all of the fucking options you had, nobody, not a single person was like, should we try witches? Nobody. Not even your psychic mother? That pissed me off. Because when she started talking to the Quicksilver, I was like, okay, here we go. This is going to be a thing. And then the Quicksilver's like, bitch, you can hightail it out of here. We ain't leaving. And I was like, great. This could be good for the second book where she's like more, pronounced, getting her bearings. And she's like, maybe I could try this or that.
Yeah.
But no. Instead, the witch, who's not even a full witch, right? She's like a half witch or something like that.
She's like a diluted witch.
Right.
Is the way they
a weak
describe
witch
it. Yeah.
is able to do that, but not an alchemist with Quicksilver. Like,
who's meant to be the strongest alchemist that have ever been recorded.
ay, que paquete.
Ay, que paquete.
Pero siempre, it's always
like,
the most,
when
the only, I mean, don't even get me started because you know who I'm thinking of.
I know, but here's the thing. This is why I felt this way about this one character, because it's like, what a coincidence. I'm like, I hate the way they make it a big deal. They're in a tent and they're like, this might make you the strongest alchemist that's ever been recorded in history.
I did think that was very lame and
So
very
lame.
pandering just to like her character.
So cringy. Like, I could have, I'm telling you, I think the alchemist, her being strong, her going through the Quicksilver and not dying as a human.
No, but
I think it could
she
be
had
built
Kingfisher's
up.
shit on her. She didn't do that by herself.
Yeah, but still, I
No.
get protected like a fae. I
Yeah,
still
but
think that's
still,
yeah,
I didn't take that as that.
sure. I still do.
Well, you know what I didn't understand? Why did she need to keep wearing the necklace like after she was out of?
Because there's like after effects of the Quicksilver on you.
Okay, but for
Not
how many
great.
days?
This is the difference between a plot hole and an intentional. I'm going to tell you later in another book.
Okay.
This is a plot hole. No,
Okay.
like I'm annoyed by this because it's
Okay.
like explain why. Explain why.
Okay.
Not to mention the fact that in other moments of the book he goes crazy after not having it for like an hour, and then you're gonna make me believe that she had this on for 10 days.
And you know what sucks is that like
Disgusting.
she gets taken into the castle, and then he comes out, and Belicon is like, "That's right, dog," and he's like snarling, and he's like, "Rah, rah," and you're like, what the fuck's going on?" And I was reading that, and I was like, wow, this is like, I'm really intrigued. Like, this is so far, like, I'm into it. And then it just did a whoop. Never mind.
Literally. That's literally what it did. It started so strong. And
I did enjoy the book though.
Yeah.
I
think
you did
kind
not. Don't say yeah.
No, I know you did. I know you
Yeah.
did. I didn't fucking enjoy this
Yeah,
shit
I
at
know.
all.
I know.
I think that there's potential, and I think that it kept me reading because there are moments that I did enjoy. There are, I wouldn't say characters that I enjoyed because I didn't enjoy most of them, but I enjoyed the potential.
I thought the majority
And
of the
the thing
characters
is
were
that I
lacking.
feel like maybe I think I gave it more of a chance because I enjoyed certain themes and certain dynamics that I was excited about. Like I was excited about the vampires. I was excited about the alchemists, and like it just didn't deliver.
Here's what I'll say too. We, in the previous episode, if you haven't watched it, I'm plugging it again. It's like the second time I say it. Go watch it. We, at the end, were like, okay, we're going to read Quicksilver next. Haven't heard anything about it, which we didn't.
Yep, we didn't,
All
which
we
is
heard
good.
was good. Like, oh my God, this book is great. It's great. It's great. So we walked into it like, oh my God, like this is going to be like When the Moon
Yes,
Crashed.
but
We've
then-
heard is amazing. Haven't read it. Don't know anything about it. We're going to be walking into it with high hopes.
Yeah, which
So-
is going to be soon, but
not soon.
not soon, but soon
Not
enough.
soon, but we'll see. But it was like that where we were like really excited, and then it started
for
off
me,
strong. So
yeah.
it was like, damn, yes, I see what people are talking about. And then she went to
know.
Kingfisher's
Yeah.
kingdom, and we were like, okay.
Oh God, but no, and even for me, it was even more of a heartbreak because Carta texted me because she got to the book before I did, and she was like, "Oh, I'm really liking this, blah blah." So I'm like, "You're like, oh my God, I'm so ready." Like she likes it, like. I'm ready. And then I ended up hating it even more than she did, which is fine because this is good. It's good that we go back and forth.
Yeah.
And I feel like we at the end of the day still have similar.
I mean, it would
was
be
this
awkward.
awful? I couldn't have finished it. No,
Yeah.
I could finish it.
It would be awkward if we both had a red mic right now. You
Yeah.
know? It's like, okay, well.
We might need to do that for another book.
We may need to buy
Stay
another mic.
tuned. We might need 2 red mics. That would be so fun. But okay, so like I'm gonna end with the Quicksilver being an issue for me because it's a plot hole, and I dislike how you're 1,800 years old, and this wasn't a problem, or this wasn't a problem that was looking for a solution. And I know that he was stuck 100 years in the labyrinth, but
Yeah, but
nonetheless,
1,800 years, 100
exactly.
years is a bat of nine. But I do agree
Yeah.
with you here. This, I do stand firm with you.
Yeah.
Where,
Yeah. So then my next big issue is, well, it's not an issue, but of course, she's like a never seen before hybrid.
of course.
This would have been a better ending for me if they would have been more clear in the difference between a vampire like Timothy
You liked it.
or Malcolm. I didn't like it. So what is Taladays?
It's Timothy.
Like Timothy or Malcolm, and then the suckers, like the foot soldiers. Like, I feel like, and she doesn't even know the difference. That's the difference. Like, when Kingfisher is like, oh, should I do this? And Timothy's like, we don't have time. I really did like that name. I think you did a
But-
great job.
Thank you.
She's even like, I don't want to become like those ugly monsters. No. Okay, bitch. So you don't know the fucking difference. So we don't know the difference. You don't know the difference. But that point when she's getting bit, we should know the difference.
I thought that the difference, and I could, again, I don't remember, but I did think the difference was that if it comes from Malcolm or like a higher up like that where they're cognizant, that you'll stay cognizant and you'll just become a vampire versus if you get bit by one of the things, you become a thing. But I don't know how you get to become one of those
That's
things.
stupid. That's stupid.
Well,
Because what if you're a smart vampire and you bite a dumb person?
no. I mean, like if you were a vampire and like there was like a decrepit, nasty vampire next to you and you bit me, I would become like you. But if the decrepit thing bit me, I
Oh.
become like. But I don't know.
But
I could
Malcolm
be wrong.
makes all the decrepit
but
creatures.
but I don't know how you get to that point where you're
That-
like, and now you're decrepit.
Yeah, that's what I.
But I think
That's what I
Malcolm
don't
decides,
understand.
and I think, and I again, I'm kind of speaking out of my ass here. This is just how I interpreted it. I think that the ones that are cognizant, if they bite you, you remain cognizant. I think I could be wrong.
But okay,
And I
if
don't-
that were true, how does Malcolm make the bottom feeders?
I don't know. That's
That's why I
where-
think that's a shitty plot.
Well, maybe that's something that can be explored in the second book.
No, this should have been explored at the beginning of this book. When they go into the dining room, it should have been like, hey, these are the different types of vampires.
Yeah.
That is the moment where you do it.
Yeah.
Like, not when you're about to fucking bite
Maybe
her.
he doesn't know. Maybe it's like a secret.
He should fucking know. What the fuck? Like, you need to know this shit. If this is your enemy,
Well,
how do
you know
not
what?
know?
He did spend like 100 years with Malcolm, so I feel like you would learn something.
That's what I'm saying.
True.
That's what I'm saying. Like, no, impossible. Like, it's not impossible, but then that makes me think you're dumber than you think.
Is this how you felt when I was going off on Violet?
Is that how are you feeling?
Like I'm enjoying it.
I did enjoy it. I did, but it's stupid. It's stupid because
I get where you're coming from because it
should have
is
been-
very confusing. Like it's like
Yes.
okay, so break it down scientifically for me.
Yeah.
How does this happen?
They go into
How do you
this
get from
whole
A to Z?
thing. They go into even way before the ending of the book. They go through like this is the god of this is the god of that. This you should be afraid of this god.
Yeah, that's true.
That's all you needed to do.
That's
you
true.
just needed to go in like, hey, after these fucking people like brushed into the dining room. Hey, this is the kind of vampire that does this. You get this and this and this from it.
No, you know what? You're right. And also, they do explain how Malcolm is the way he is because they're like, oh, well, we all
The
have
blood
the curse.
exactly.
And then Malcolm stayed in that, and that's
Correct.
why he is the way he is. So actually, you're actually hitting a point that I didn't even think about where it's like, there is a lot of explanation and background
Yes.
for so many things, but
And
not
you
this.
don't do this.
Yeah,
So
you're right,
much so
you're
that
right.
Saeris is like, no, don't bite me. I don't want to become a feeder. And they're like, no, you wouldn't because Timothy's biting you. What?
Okay, yeah.
Like,
I didn't think about it like that. It went over my head, but you are
And, like,
right.
and who the fuck is Timothy?
I kind of just accepted it. Oh yeah, I was like, Timothy, who the fuck are you? Like, I know that they explain.
And then he's like, no,
For
they don't
20
explain.
seconds.
They're like,
this is Timothy, he's Malcolm's
he's
right
second
hand.
to none.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, okay. What
Like,
does this mean
and it's
to
also, I
me?
think, the fish fucker who's like, oh, that's Malcolm's right hand, Timothy. And we're like, okay. And that's it. That's all we get from him. And then Timothy's like, hey, buddy, I missed you. What's going on? I'll help you. And you're just like, wait, I thought you were Malcolm's bitch. Like, what's going on now?
Nothing. He would have been if they would have at least given something, and that's my biggest problem. Like if they would have ended that way, and the book would have ended, which I'm skipping a little bit, but there's a point to this. If the books would have ended the gods and she comes back, but no, they come back and she's in a room with Timothy, and we get nothing.
Yeah. No.
We get nothing.
That would have been the perfect opportunity for him
That
to
would have been
explain
the
something.
perfect opportunity for him to be like, hey,
This is how it
this
works.
is how it works. This is who
you know what
are.
I take a huge issue with? How are you the queen but not Timothy? Timothy bit you,
But she killed Malcolm.
but Timothy bit you. And
Right.
Timothy was his right hand.
Yeah, but according to their laws, it's either he picks an heir.
Which, like, wouldn't his
He
second-
didn't. No, he didn't. He never picked an heir. So the one that kills the leader
No.
becomes, which is stupid.
No.
Let me get to that.
No. Because if I'm like one of these like 5,000 gremlins, I'd be like, bitch, you're not my leader.
Yeah.
He's my leader.
But
That's
then-
Timothy's right hand. Timothy is the right hand of Malcolm. Like, wait, also, why do we have Kingfisher, Saeris, Carrion, Malcolm? The fuck is that? Why is your name Malcolm? Why is it not like Zachariah or some
I
shit?
know some fucking like. So you could name them.
Everlyn, Fenris,
Everlyn.
Lorith, Malcolm.
It's Malcolm.
Okay, anyways.
But
But
anyways,
I do think you're right. That would have been the
here's-
perfect time for him
Yes.
to explain,
This
break it
is
down,
a
especially because
huge
he's like,
issue
you're
for
the
me.
queen now. So look, this is how it works. This, that.
Yeah.
I'm this. This is how that happens. And he's just like, it's okay. Don't be mad at me. Okay, I'll leave. Like,
I'm
what the
like-
fuck is that?
She's freaking out. She's telling, no, don't let him bite me. I don't want to be a bottom feeder. No, you wouldn't be that. He's the second most powerful. When we know Malcolm has created all the bottom feeders, so what the fuck are you talking about? I don't think we're supposed to be so confused about a big point in this.
No, I
fucking
think you're
book.
right. I think you're right. This is a plot hole.
Yeah, it is, and I have a problem with it.
I think you're
And
right.
then you become a hybrid. So I'm just gonna go right into the next thing because you become a hybrid, and then the hybrid is something that has never been seen before. And I understand that the gods doing that, and I understand all that. But then it's like, what a coincidence. I wouldn't hate so much of her becoming a hybrid, and I almost wonder if I answer my own question when she went to the gods at the end. They were like, okay, so a way to avoid full vampirism, we're giving you half fae, half vampire, and you're something that no one has ever seen. I would accept that, but I don't think that was her point at all.
Do you think it was just to make her special?
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
We need to make all of these people that are useless special.
I guess. I kind of took it more as like we're gonna put you in between to see what happens kind of thing. You know,
Yeah.
like, because the god was kind of already like, I know what'll happen if you're full fae.
Yeah.
And like vampires are like this. So maybe let's just put you in the anomaly bucket.
Which is the point. Let's get right into the ending that we both enjoyed, which is, again, like, there's the gods are seeing that no matter what happens when these two people collide, then like some shit happens and like half the tree's gone. And so their idea was like, let's make something that has never been seen before and maybe
see
you're
what happens,
outside of the tapestry of the universe. I enjoyed that.
And he was like, and with that, I'm hands off. Like, I can't do shit.
I can't do anything about it, but I've created. I'm
giving you a chance, basically.
Exactly. I'm giving you a chance so that the other gods don't try to step in.
Right.
Because there's nothing they can do because it has not been written that this happens. I enjoyed that. I love the part with the gods.
From the moment that she's falling through the air and lands, that's where I started picturing everything again. That's where the world building came back. That's where I was like, wait, I'm excited now. Like, this is not like I'm no longer being like, okay, where are we going with this? So from there, the maze, I loved the maze, even though that is a repetitive trope. Or like
she did it well though.
She did. But that's what I'm saying. Like, even though it is like a repetitive theme where it's like, okay, we've already seen this. Like, I enjoyed it. I was having a good time.
Yeah.
All throughout it. Even to the part where like they separate and she's looking for the coin and they're over there doing whatever the fuck they do and then she's facing. I was like, I'm into this. And then beyond that, when she talks to the god, which I was confused too. Because when you start involving different entities, I'm like, wait, no. You need to speak to me like I'm a kindergartner. I don't understand this. But even that, like, I didn't get super confused and lost in it. I liked all of it. And then she wakes up, so much. And I was like, okay, where are we going?
Here we go again.
But that chunk right there,
great.
I was like, this feels like the beginning of the book where I was excited.
This feels exciting to me. I enjoyed it. I love the way the gods were represented.
I would say
I know because
that if you put the beginning exciting part and the end exciting part, this much of the book, I was excited.
Okay.
And then the rest of this, I was like, oh my god.
Okay, so then let me do the same.
Okay. It's gonna be 4 pages.
So this is what excited me, and then this is what the end was sucky. This is what excited me.
7 pages.
Like 27.
But for me, it was more than that. So I would say, like, this much. We have a guest.
A guest.
I don't know if you can see. Pull them up so they can see. Call them. Hi.
We can. Look, you're going to be a YouTube star. Come here.
He's like, never mind. I actually don't want to be in this.
Maybe they'll see his tail. I have a cute little husky over here. Okay.
Hi. So I do think that a good chunk of this was super filler.
Yeah.
For me. I know that it had its own purpose. But because of that, like, large part where I was excited, not large part, but like that large little chunk.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, so like, let's see what the next book does. Like, maybe you can hone in on this now because they're already together. So you can stop this bullshit of the two of them fighting and the two of them this. Yeah. And like, let's explore something else. But now, in the next book, what's the conflict going to be? Is it going to be more bullshit with Fishfucker and Sarah? Or is it going to be a larger theme? Because Belicon is dead. No, Malcolm is dead.
Yeah.
Malcolm is dead. And then Belicon and I'm thinking Madra. Are both still at large. So
yeah, one thing I will tell Kingfisher, my only favorite part of him is when he was like, be wary of the shadows, bitch, because I'm gonna come out and fucking kill you. I fucking loved that part. I was like, what?
Well, because he was like, you sterilized my mate. Be fucking wary. I'm gonna rip your ass out. I loved that.
I loved that part,
bitch.
I'm like, and you that guy
now. Also, that part when you find out that the 3 of them are in cahoots, I was like, wait, what the fuck?
Yep.
And I don't get surprised.
Oh, that was a good one. Yeah.
It was.
I do agree. I can't believe we didn't. Well, yeah, like I think that was a great point when I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah. And I don't easily get shocked in books.
No, same.
And I was like, what the fuck? All three of them?
And she gave us a little hint though, like
Yeah.
Madra being like forever old.
Yeah,
I'd be like,
well, we knew. I was like, this bitch is Fae. This bitch is
Yeah.
Fae. And she's not, apparently, based off of what we've seen so far. Because even then,
Right.
they were like, no, she's human. She just did some weird shit.
well, then that goes back to my theory of, well, I'll go to the theories now. But overall, being a hybrid wouldn't have pissed me off so much if we would have known a little bit more about the vampirism and the theme.
Okay,
We enjoyed the ends. We enjoyed the gods. I really did enjoy that. And then let's talk a little bit about overall rating, and then let's go into our theories for a second.
Okay.
Okay.
Can we do overall rating? And I do want to talk about spicy margaritas, spicy
Yes.
concept. Okay. So overall rating, I would give it a 3.5. I know that's what I gave Onyx Storm. But I gave Onyx Storm, and that with a whole lot of background.
That was painful for me to hear that you are giving Quicksilver the same rating. Okay, I mean, like, I respect
as a
it, but
standalone book.
But it's painful for me, but I respect it.
But I didn't hate it the way you did.
Well, and you hated Onyx Storm in the way that I didn't.
So what I would say is I would not give any singular Fourth Wing book a 3.5 because I get so frustrated.
Okay.
But because of the whole world, by the time that we did, the podcast on Onyx Storm, I couldn't just judge the book by itself.
Well, true.
So
fair. That is fair.
3.5 for Onyx Storm because of all the background that I've already received.
Okay.
On this, I really would give it a 3.5. I really did enjoy it. I think that there are parts that are lacking. I really don't hate Sarah. She frustrates me. I don't like Kingfisher. I haven't forgiven him. Like he's warming up for me, but I'm still like, you did really fucked up things.
Yeah.
I think Sarah's lacking. I want her to turn it around, but I think she could maybe in the next book. If the next book tanks, maybe the rating will go down. We'll see. Yeah. But I really did enjoy this book.
Yeah. I'm going to give it a 2.
I'm surprised it's not a 1.
I mean, well, you know what, though? Because you haven't heard of my 1. My 1, I'm not going to talk about it right now. But I have a 1. That 1 was epically bad. So it's a 2. I didn't completely hate it because if I could not have gotten through it, I wouldn't have made this podcast and I wouldn't be open to reading the second one. So as a standalone, I'm going to give it a 2.
Okay.
Just because it has potential. For me, 2s have potential. And I know it sounds kind of iffy because for me, 3s are very like, they're not great, but they're not bad. But this was bad for me. The most of the book, I was like, the plot is not plotting for me. So like, I can see the potential. I see some moments where she's writing great. She's giving me environment, but I gotta like, a 2.
I'm not surprised. I expected a 1. I think that we come from different places on this one. I do know that you struggled through it, so the 2 makes sense.
2.
Okay,
so solid 2. So in general, I guess I'm just going to go into for a second just my summary of the book. I think the world building was giving really great at certain times of the book.
I agree.
I really had a hard time with the majority of the characters. One of the things that I think, I'm not going to give away the fact, I'm not going to negate, I guess, the right way to say this, that she made me feel some type of way about Kingfisher. And I feel like that is a bad character written bad. Right? Like, I think he was meant to be an asshole. I think he was meant to give us, like, rile us up. But I fucking hated Saeris. I fucking hated the way that her story developed. I disliked how obsessive she was about becoming friends with these people when she didn't fucking know them. But then I think, I really liked the plot twist. I loved that we're like, you turn the page and all 3 of them are together and you're like, what?
Yes.
What?
It's giving SJM last 2
yeah, it's giving like okay, insane. Girl, I see. And then I think that I enjoyed the little plot twist with the coin flip that he caught it. I'm like, oh, you cruel person, you. I was like, oh, you like mean,
Oh, you're diabolical.
I really like that. I really did. I don't know what it means about me, but
no, I think that was actually really good too.
It was really good.
I did enjoy that.
It was really good. I was like,
it's you don't expect that.
No,
right? You think they're gonna follow their own rule.
Yeah, like there's 2 rules, and then you caught it, and then they laugh, and then I'm like, oh man, you're mean.
Oh shit. Like that.
Yeah. One of my favorite parts is like what I'm gonna say it again. I'm like, I really liked Kingfisher. I hated 99% of the book, but that 1% when he turns to Madra and he's like, be wary of the shadows, bitch. Like, and I'm like, Ooh. Okay.
I enjoyed that too.
Love the gods. I love the gods part. I love that we were able to get back into the environment, get back into the plot. I loved the perspective of this. The end was not giving. Now she's a queen. Like, I think we have theories around the fact that, like, I'm sure, like, that's going to be the plot. Like, are you going to be a queen? Who's going to respect you? What are you even? Like, the Quicksilver is still an issue. Whatever. Who's going to be the heir of Bellicon and all that crap, you know? So I think that there's potential for the second book. I wish they would have come from
Are
the,
we
from
getting the
gods.
special edition signed copy of the second book?
I mean, I have to always.
I thought you were gonna say no.
I know, but then I'm telling you, like, I told Carla about this impulsive buy. I'm not gonna tell you what book I bought, but I impulsive buy like those
I know.
signed copies. It just makes
The
me
signed
feel
copy's
good.
gone though. I didn't get it in time.
No,
Wait. Oh, did you see what the
Maybe
covers
not
are
for-
for the next?
no.
Lame.
Oh,
Yep. It literally just says Quicksilver in blue, and it's like foil. And then the next one says Brimstone in red. I was so excited. I thought it was gonna be something like this,
Guys.
with foil and like no. And I was super disappointed.
Publishing houses. Come on, your readers are like, we are true fans.
Listen.
If you're gonna do a fucking
Special
special edition,
editions, you will take the money right out of my pocket. Make it
Yeah.
nice.
special
The Hunger
edition.
Games special edition. Wait, where is it? Hello.
Right there. Look at that.
We
Look at
both
this.
got it. And by the way, we both have all the books already.
Yeah.
So
That,
for me to
that's
spend
a
money
special
on
edition. That is a special edition.
Yep.
Like, take your time.
Yeah.
Take your time.
Be smart about
I'm not
it.
even going to talk about the Akatar special editions.
No,
Because, okay.
So anyways, any final thoughts?
So final thoughts. Overall, a 2, but a 2 for me is a potential. A 1, when you see me rate a 1, I'm not reading the next book. I'm just not, which is what happened to me with a couple series. But a 2 is potential for me. For me, I
I'm
hated
glad
it,
it's potential
but it's
because
potential.
I did like it, and I want you to read the next one.
I have to.
Well, yeah, you have to because we're talking about it now.
Sucks about that special edition, though. I didn't know about that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's my summary. That's my overall. Let's do the spicy stuff.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So
Okay. Can I go in on this?
let's go in on this.
I want to preface with I don't mind spice, neither does she. We've talked about this in depth. I don't mind it at all. I really genuinely don't care. If it's there, cool. I actually kind of do like when there's closure for me with the relationship where it's like, okay, cool. So like, yes, finally, we get what we wanted. They're together. I don't mind it at all. My problem is when the central theme of a book is the spice.
Yeah.
Where I'm just like,
Yep.
I get it. I get it. And I know that this is we're gonna get hate for this because I do know that this is a thing that certain readers go for, and that's totally cool because all of us look for different aspects.
Which
in
is
book.
fine.
Like for example, you and I both love struggling characters
For sure.
and we haven't gone in on that, and we can't right now because it's gonna be another hour. But a character that's struggling, and when I say struggling, I mean like in the dirt, like
you don't
Aelin
know how
and
she's gonna get
Fire.
up. Yeah, you don't know how she's gonna get up.
Like just like morbidly depressed to the point where the book might be boring for people. Because I've heard people say that Air of Fire is boring. For me, it is a tie for my favorite book in that series. So I am all for people reading what they want. And I do know that a lot of people love the spicy scenes, and that's great. But for us, I don't mind spice. I don't mind if it's in there once, twice, 3 times. I don't care. But when that's what the main theme is, which is what I felt happened with Quicksilver after a certain point where it was just all about them having sex.
Yeah.
I get bored. Like, I'm just like, I don't care anymore. You know, like I kind of am like, can I just skip this? Because like, I get it. Okay. I got it.
Yeah.
It's not like with Akatar. With the first 3 books, I really didn't feel that way.
I didn't feel that way at all.
I was like, I read it perfectly fine. I was like, cool, next. Like, I did not feel...
I'll tell you why.
Because that wasn't the main point.
That wasn't the main point.
So
it was, and we got yearning.
Yeah.
We got character development. We got hate. We got love. We got interest. We got something. You're gonna tell me that in the span of I don't even how long in Quicksilver and I get it. The first time you're like on him, you're trying to distract him, get out of the Quicksilver. After, come on.
And like,
Come on.
I'm okay with like really do like the yearning. I like the banter. I
like
love
that.
Listen, when I read a book, I do want there to be romance because I
Yeah.
like it. But I feel like we've gotten to a point as readers, you and I, where we're kind of going down this path where it's like, okay, I don't want the focal point to be their romance. I want there to be something else. And it feels like this book and, for example, the last Bakatar, I kind of felt like it's just all about the spice here. And that's not why I'm here.
This is not why I'm here. And I feel like this is such a great topic. And I feel like we really should dive into this in the sense that I think that it is, I think it's a problem. I think it's a problem. And this is why. I feel like spice has always had a space in these books. And no one bat an eye for the longest time. But now I think that the people that are getting on Book Talk, I think the people that are getting on the idea of, reading a specific romantasy or whatever, I think that it is getting to a place where I think we're only looking for this. I feel like so many people are asking, like, is there spice? Is there spice? And it's like, listen, like, if you like to read spice, there is erotica. That is my opinion.
But I feel like that's not necessarily, people like the fantasy aspect.
But if you like the fantasy aspect, make sure that the fantasy is the main plot.
I think the issue we're having is that, I don't want to put this on authors, but I think maybe when we get recommended books, they're not differentiated. And I think that's the issue, because we got recommended Quicksilver in the fantasy, this is a great fantasy book.
Like, everybody, this is what's hot right now.
Right. Yeah. And it is a great book, in my opinion. I know not for you, but it is a great potential book, right? But I think there is a difference. It's kind of like if you read Akatar and you read Throne of Glass. And I know I keep going back to these two, but I feel like they're so different. Yeah. Because in Throne of Glass, you do get a spice scene. One in 8 books, though. But
how are you? Okay, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry to interrupt you, but I have to say this. Listen, you write an 8-book series that people are still not over, that people are obsessed with. So that means that you wrote a plot, you wrote a story. I could cry. Oh, that's so good. And you didn't need sex. And it just feels like authors nowadays that are pushing these kind of books, and again, still thinking this is potential, but I do think that this is the new vibe. I do
agree with you here.
It's like, I have to have spice in this book for people to like blow this book up.
I do agree where it feels like that it has become a focal point of a lot of books. But what I will say is that I don't necessarily think it's because, I don't think it's anyone's fault other than our own. I think that when people review books, it's not, we haven't yet differentiated, because, okay, so there is high fantasy, which we're not there. And honestly, it scares the shit out of me, because there's dictionaries and thesauruses, and it's very intense. Like, Game of Thrones is a monstrosity. Yes.
It is.
And I read the first book and I was like, this is so much. I don't know if I can keep doing this.
Yeah.
And then there's young adult, which is where we come from. Yep. And now I think we've gotten to a point where we're like, I need more than this. I need something deeper. And what did it for us was Throne of Glass, because that's what broke the barrier to be like, look at this. Look at how well thought out this was. Look at how much depth there is here.
It's true. But then it bothers me, though. I'm sorry. I have to keep, I understand that. I think you're doing a great job explaining the kind of like the two different perspectives. But again, I feel like I don't think it should be that we have to go into high fantasy to get a feeling like Throne of Glass.
What I'm saying is, I feel like there's high fantasy. So when we make these complaints, because my brother reads high fantasy, he's like, you're ready for high fantasy. And I'm like, but I'm not. But I am not. I know I'm not. And he's like, but you're looking for themes that are like stronger and harder and that resonate more. And I'm like, yes, but I'm not looking for that writing yet, because it scares me. I don't want to be confused 90% of the book. I don't.
I love you.
I just don't. I don't want to have to keep being like, wait, who is this? And going back and then be like, what does this word mean? Because they make up new words. Like, I'm not there yet. So what I think is, and I've seen it, that we're in this place, and I do think that there are other readers here where it's like, okay, I want more, but I don't want that. I want Throne of Glass kind of things. Where it's not high fantasy.
The problem.
It's
we're like in the in-between.
Yeah, we're like in the, I think SJM touched such a, like, she did so good with Throne of Glass where it's like, look, I'm giving you more than what you would normally get with Romantasy, which is beautiful in and of itself. But if you want
wild
more,
that it was her first.
I know, and she was super young.
Wild.
But I think that, and I do still think that there are books that emulate Throne of Glass kind of vibes where it's like, it's not all about spice. It is about the plot. And my brother told me about a new one recently that I have to tell you. And there's Mistborn, which is, I think, young adult, no?
Gotta get there. I think so.
Okay, so I think that we haven't been able to, I think when we
fully
see
appreciate
books recommended, I don't think they're differentiated yet.
Yeah.
I think that everybody is just like, this is romantasy. And I don't think that that's what it is. I think that there's romantasy spice. And I think there's romantasy fantasy.
Yes.
Like,
yes, I love that.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I don't think you need to go to high fantasy to get what we want.
I love that for you. Yeah.
I think that everything gets clustered into romantasy, and I don't think that that's fair.
No, I think you're making such a great point, and I didn't think about it that way. I think that it is fair for all of us as a collective to be into fantasy, but I think that we should start differentiating between here's the thing, right? Like, are you more like a plot and spice or 50-50, or are you more plot and spice or like 80-20? Because that's the other thing.
I think that's a great differentiator.
Yeah, I think Card and I do enjoy, when there is romance and there is like a build up, and like if you want to give me a couple sex scenes, like cool, I mean, whatever.
Just in our previous episode, we were like, oh my god, Dane was
what?
And we like that.
Yeah, we like that kind of. We do.
We get giddy and like when I read, we're reading The Hunger Games and I read Peter's song. I'm like,
oh, look at what?
And so we like that stuff.
We do. We enjoy that kind
but
of.
I feel like I'm drowning in the spice sometimes.
That's okay. So we have to come up with another name, because like for us, spice is what we're describing. Where we're like, ooh, like this happened, and then you got a scene here and there, I feel like I'm drowning in sex.
Yeah. And
it's like what I'm feeling.
And like I said, I don't care if there's sex in the book. That doesn't make or break it for me.
But
when it's all I'm reading, it's like, I don't care about this.
It got so bad for me when I was reading one series a few months ago where I literally, I've never done this before, but I'm literally skipping pages. I'm literally looking for when the spice ends so that I can move on to
that
the
happened
plot.
to me with Onyx Storm. Remember, when I started reading Onyx Storm, I was like, Alejandra, how much is in this? Because
I didn't think there was much.
No, you told me there wasn't. You were like, no, don't worry, there's not a lot. And I was like, okay, because in Iron Flame.
Oh, true.
I was just like, I
Iron
don't
Flame
care.
was a bit more.
I was like, I just don't care. Okay, I get it. I'm not here for this. Like, give me more. And then I was like, Alejandra, how much more? And you were like, it's really not that bad this time around. Because she finished the book before me.
Yeah, I did like Onyx Storm.
So I think that it's like.
I think it's, talking about spicy margaritas. We might come back for this if we find a book that's spicy. But this is what it is. It's like, for me, it's kind of like, and I'm sure we're going to find people that are like, you guys are dumb.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure. I understand and I get it. I hear you. And I still think we're going to find we're gonna find our cult here. I think there's gonna be a lot of people that are like,
and this is no hate to spice. It's like we said, like, listen, I read shit that I'm sure people would be like, ew, that's so boring, who cares? Or like, that's so dumb. Like, it's to each their own. It's not to shit on it. But we're on a journey as readers right now where we really are.
Yeah, we are. We're trying to figure out like the in-between.
Yeah. And we're in this place where it's like, I don't want to read high fantasy. I really don't.
No, I'm not ready for it.
I'm not. And I do want romance in my books. I like it. I want to see that. And I want the yearning. And give me a spice scene. Like, yes, I'm down for that.
But I think that's why the percentage is so important. I think that 80-20 would be great.
Yeah, I would love that.
I think 80-20. 80% plot, 20% spice, I'm good. I'm game. I won't complain. But if I'm feeling like the sex scenes are becoming 50% of the book.
Which is what happened here.
I think so, yes. I think like it was just like this constant like, oh, I want him. Oh, we do this. Oh, we do that. And then like I'm almost feeling like, and you have a war. Like,
Definitely.
Girl.
Yeah.
I felt like it was so. Maybe that's why I didn't like it too much too. You know, I feel like there was not enough plotting, and there was like too much sex. Then again, I'm sure we're gonna find people that are like
think that
prude.
well, I'm sure, yeah. I don't think that every book has to appeal to what we want.
No.
I just think that
It may
we are
not just-
trying to find
Yeah.
the right ones there. So we
Yeah.
read this one, and that's our perspective given what we currently think. If
Yeah.
you are a spice lover, I think you'll love this book.
I think so too.
And it's not like it's front and back all spice. There is stuff in between.
Yeah.
I want to say maybe there's like 4 spice scenes.
I felt like like 4 or 6.
Okay. But and here's the thing. Look how big the book is. Like, I know that this looks big, but it's really not.
It's really not
It's
when you're
like
trying to get
almost
into a
600
whole
pages.
world
So when
thing.
you're talking about 4 scenes that are probably
Yeah.
like, I don't know, like 6, 7 pages each, it does kind of add up. So that is my perspective on the spice.
Yep. I think that it is too much
Yeah.
for us. And I feel like that's another part of the reason why we even started this podcast. I think we're on a journey to figure out not only we kind of understand what kind of books we love, and we're still going to give the buzz like a chance.
Yeah.
You know, I still
And
like,
you
think
know,
that that's good.
I think what would help too is like, I read 50 Shades of Grey, but I knew what I was
Same.
walking into.
Same.
And so I didn't have any complaints because I knew what it was. But when I walk into these books, I
And
don't
within
know what I'm
50
going into.
Yes, it's such a
So-
good point. Within 50 Shades of Grey, I know what I'm stepping
Yeah.
into.
I'm choosing
and guess
to.
what?
And
I
so I'm
didn't
not
hate
gonna
it.
I'm not gonna come on here and be like, there was too much
There was-
spice.
Come
I knew
on.
what I was reading. And
Yeah.
by the way, I did like 50
I
Shades of
did
Grey.
like it.
But
Yes.
I knew what I was
knew
reading.
what it was for.
Yes.
When
And
I'm
so with
looking
these-
for
I think that we need a little more of a differentiation.
yes.
And then I think if I had known, if you had known,
Yeah, I don't think we would have picked it.
I don't think so. I think maybe we would have eventually read it, but I think we would have come into it with more of a like, I know what this is about. Like we
Well,
already.
you're right. I think yes. I think we might
Because
not
we didn't
have
know anything
picked
about this
it, but
book.
we didn't know anything about this
Yeah.
book, and that helps in a way. But in another way, it's kind of like I can read 50 Shades of Grey and know where I'm walking into, and I enjoy it.
Yeah.
I have no complaints about 50 Shades
Yeah.
of Grey. It did what it was.
It was fun.
supposed
I
to
liked
do.
it.
But I think that this is kind of the overall theme in our conversations around this is that I'm here for the fantasy.
Yeah.
I want the world building. I want the banter. I want the fantasy stuff. I want the creatures. I want the plot.
Break
that we
my
need
heart.
To, yes.
Break my heart.
Break my
Step on
heart.
Destroy it.
Make me feel
Make me
things.
cry.
Make me feel things.
Yeah.
Make me feel like, man, I was really rooting for her. Or maybe,
Yeah.
you know?
Make me feel the way Manon felt in the last book. Like, do that to me.
Oh my God, Carla, no.
Do that to me. Make me feel
No.
the way I felt with Aelin
I
in
could
Airfire
cry right now.
when everybody was
God.
around her and it was Sam. Oh my God, make me feel
Oh.
like I will not be afraid. Please, like, give me that. You know,
Give me that.
give me
that.
torture me in a way, in a good way. Don't depress me, but like,
torture me.
you know, that's what we're after.
Yes.
And I don't think we need to go to high fantasy for that.
No. If
And I
this
think we
could
will
have
probably
been-
touch high fantasy at some point.
I'm down. I think
But
I'm not as
my
scared of
point
it
is-
now when I'm trying to understand our journey.
Yeah, but my point is like I don't want to leave young adult. I love young adult.
No, I agree with you. I don't want to have to be completely giving up on this. And I'm not saying that like these books need to change for us.
No, of course
You know,
not.
I think we
that
just
we're
need
just
to
trying to
underst-
clarify too
Yes.
where we're coming from.
Yeah.
And like I said, like I don't think that anybody like if you tell me I read this book and it's a 5, I'm not gonna be like I disagree, you're wrong. I think it's different perspectives. I just think we're looking for different things in books.
I'm just not going to take your advice on my next read. I am not.
You're so pissed off.
I know. I'm sorry.
I just
But in
my
a
problem is
respectful way. We
no
just
no
don't
no.
have the
My
same
problem is
vibe.
I think that we're just all accumulating romantasy altogether. And I think that we need to separate it because it's not, you can't tell me Through Glass and ACOTAR are the same because they're not.
They're
And I
not.
love ACOTAR. I love it. But you cannot tell me it's the same. It's not. It's completely different.
Yep.
So I think that's the journey that we're on. And that's what we wanted to touch on the spicy margarita, spicy book thing.
And if it resonates with you, stay on our journey. And if
Give
it
us a
doesn't
follow
resonate,
or subscribe.
yeah. And if it doesn't resonate, then like, you know,
You can stay tuned to the shit talking, and all of this is with love. You know, these authors are doing way more than I can. I can't even write a sentence.
I'm not writing a
with
book
proper
right now.
punctuation.
Correct. Like, and I hope I'm not even thinking the author is going to see this.
No, I don't think they're ever going to see this.
Ever.
But I'm just saying, I don't want anybody watching this to be like, wow, you guys are such bitches. All you do is talk shit. Yeah, we do talk a bunch of shit.
We talk a bunch of shit, which is why we're Latin. But
yeah,
we're Latinos. So
it's
you
in my blood. I can't help it. Chisme nació en mí.
I'm always here for it. But I'm just saying, like, there's no hate to the authors. I think that...
Or the readers who read the books. It's just, I think we're on our journey, and we're trying to...
figure out what really resonates and what really doesn't for us. And I feel like, again, we've
been reading for years.
Forever.
And we've read
so much.
If you're a fan of the Animorphs, hey girl, like I loved that shit. And if you're a fan of the Click, we read that together. And like
we read that together in 7th grade.
You remember who your girl was? Who was your girl?
Massey
and
Massey
Alicia.
Block. I fucking love that shit. So like we are growing up,
and we read
with
Twilight, and I loved Twilight. I would kick my feet up, like. It's not about the book and maturity and this and that. It's a journey. And we're at the point in our journey where we're looking for a little more. And I think, honestly, that Throne of Glass ruined us.
I think so.
I think that we got such a high caliber of, like, everything that we wanted that now we're chasing that high. Yeah. So, follow us on our journey because it's going to...
We're gonna get spicy in our opinions.
Yeah, and you know what? If we choose to read a book that we know is super spicy, I promise we're not going to sit here and be like, wow, there was just way too much. This was all about sex. Because if that's what I know I'm going into, I will expect it.
I will legit just do a disclaimer. Hey, we're reading this. It's meant to be spicy, so be here for the spice. Yeah. But I do think it's a great idea as we move forward is to realize there are readers that enjoy plot 50%, spice 50%. And I think that we're just getting to a place where we're like, we love the romance. There could be a spicy scene. We don't need it, but we don't mind it. Yeah. And but we need an 80% fantasy plot, 20% spice. Yeah. Because we are here to dive into a world. We want to feel things. We want to be in a new world. We want to, be in a story that is giving us purpose. It's giving us we're here because this is the story and this is what's happening and this is the plot and this is why the character is doing this. And if you throw in sex somewhere there, whatever. But if it's just drowning in it, it's not what we're here for.
I'll even give you an example. Like the Hunger Games, I was like, I wish I had gotten a little more of the Peeta Katniss romance.
I would agree.
I loved it.
So we're not hating.
But I was like, I just wish I had a little more. I would have loved to see in Mockingjay a little more love.
I would have, yes. I agree with you.
This is not to say, tone down the fucking spice, tone down the fucking love. I just think that we're at a point where we're differentiating it, and I think you nailed it, 80-20 for us.
For me, for us, it's 80-20. I need 80% plot. You want to put a couple spicy scenes that make sense, by the way. Yeah. That make sense, because if you're climbing on somebody and he's been an asshole, you're weird.
Also, make it make sense with the angles. Because, in the previous book, everybody was like, Rebecca, how did that chair scene? Do you know anatomy?
And I'm like, what? Can someone explain the chair scene to me? So, how did I turn?
Make it make sense, too.
Agreed. I don't think your sex scene needs to be so complicated.
But yeah, I think we've been wanting to talk about this for a while. I'm glad that we got it off our chests.
Yeah, I need more plot than spice, and that just makes me different to the average not the average person. I'm not saying superior.
I think we're on different journeys, honestly.
No, and I feel like,
and I think that there have been readers that are in our shoes, or we're in our shoes, and maybe they can guide us too, and be like, look, these are the kind of books that you guys are looking for.
I would love that. Please comment.
That's what this is all about. Honestly, we started this with that intention
to figure this out
of finding like-minded, hey guys, this is what we like. what do you like? And just kind of creating like a giant book club, honestly.
I would love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think overall, I think we just want an 80-20, but I think that we're not against it if it's like a new thing and it's a cool thing. And I would even be interested in a 50-50 if they thought like the plot is still compensating for the sex. You know, I'd be like, all right, let's do it.
Like I would venture to say that the first two Akatar books are pretty 50-50, and I enjoyed them.
I even think they were 80-20. The first two?
No, there was spice.
Barely any in the first.
Girl. Well,
There
no,
was
in the
just-
first, yeah, but in the second one there was plenty.
But there wasn't like a description, is what I'm saying. I mean, like
True.
she did
Yeah,
the
yeah,
whole
you're right,
thing
you're right, you're right.
with Tamlin.
No, I
and
think you're
stuff,
right.
But it wasn't like, and then he grabbed this. and
Yeah,
then
no,
he
you're
did
right,
that.
you're right.
You know, I think like, and that's what I'm
So
saying.
our
like,
next
I
read is
loved-
gonna be Ice Planet Barbarians. Have you heard of that?
No.
It's super spicy.
Oh God. No.
I'm kidding. I was trying to get a reaction out of her, but
I'm
she
like-
didn't know what I was talking about.
I didn't know what I was. That's how far removed I am from the spice life.
I've heard it's very spicy.
Yeah. No.
But yeah, that is our
So,
spice take.
That is our spice take. Here's the thing. I don't want to dive into a fantasy world for the sex. That's
Yeah.
not the vibe.
Yeah.
That is not the vibe. I respect the vibe if that's your vibe. But for me, I am diving into this because I want a plot. You want to dive into a little here and there about like someone falling in love and there was like a spice scene here and there. Fine. But the plot better be plotting. Because if not, fucking describe your book different.
And look, if you're interested in both, or if you just want to hear us talk shit, just keep coming back, because I promise that Red Mike is going to make an appearance, because we are both very opinionated. Well, that's it for this episode. Join us for our next episode. We are going to be covering the Hunger Games trilogy and the prequels.
Yes.
Since there's two now. There's Ballad of Songs and Birds that just came out.
Yep.
Which is Haymitch's Hunger Games. Really excited
We
about
are
that.
so excited.
Super excited. Haven't read it yet.
Listen to me. We read Hunger Games when we were little girls.
Yeah.
And we were obsessed with the Hunger Games. And so it's just crazy for us to be in this place where there's a new one.
I know.
And
I
I'm
didn't think it would happen.
I didn't think it would happen either. There's a new one, and I get to read it as an adult.
Like for the first time, because we've started reading the Hunger Games, the
Yes.
first book.
Yep.
And it was like, I wanted to start crying when I first opened it, because I was like, this feels right, you know?
This feels like
And even as an
I have
adult,
nothing bad to say. And like
at all, this Mike will not be making an appearance at all. I can guarantee it, unless something really horrendous happens in A Ballad of Songs and
like
Birds.
unless something insane in her writing style, because I'm telling
Which
you,
I
we read
doubt.
all of them before the new one. We haven't gone into the new one yet. But and again, a lot of people can sit here and be like, "Oh, that's just the nostalgia of the fact that you guys read it when you guys were younger."
Because
No,
we just reread the first
we
book.
just reread it, and
it's
it's
just
giving.
like, it's just hitting. It's
Yeah.
hitting, and I'm
Yeah.
not a young adult anymore. Well, I'll forever be a young adult. I'm never gonna admit that. I'm not. But it just hits always, and so we're very excited.
Yep.
I don't see the Red Mike making an appearance.
No.
We're really, really happy to be rereading it. So that's
Yes.
going to be our next episode. We're going to be talking about the Hunger Games in general.
we are going to be giving you all Hunger Games.
Yeah.
and
Maybe it might have to be a 2 episode, because it's at this point 4 books. No, 5.
five
books.
I
So-
think we might be giving the
And
whole lore. Honestly,
Obviously, we
because
can.
it's
Yeah,
so good.
You've seen.
I mean,
well,
listen.
you saw the cut down version of the Onyx Storm,
That was huge.
and this is. We were like, oh, we're not gonna talk a lot about this one, because
No,
it's just
we
one
li-
book,
I
and you don't
literally
even
told-
like it. And I'm looking at this. It's 2 hours already. We've been talking about this
literally
for 2
told
hours.
Carter, I'm like, this is gonna be 30 minutes, 45 minutes max.
Yep, and
But
here
I
we are,
want it.
literally an hour 54 minutes, and it's
The
like
drinks help. The drink we never
they do. Oh, cheers!
So we're gonna do the Hunger Games next,
Yes.
and we're really excited because I feel
Super,
like
super excited.
when we first read these
Super
series,
excited.
super excited. When we read these books, we were like teenagers, like middle school, high school, and I think rereading them now is making me so. Yes, it is nostalgic, but I also feel they're doing it right.
Yep. Yes,
God,
yes,
it
yes. I
feels
love
like
Suzanne Collins.
Oh my God, girl.
And I
You know.
love, I hate when people leave things open for interpretation, and she does that, and I still love it.
Yeah, I would agree.
I love it.
Yeah.
So we're having a really good time with it, and that is
Yeah.
our next episode
So
is
we're
going to be
doing a
Hunger
full
Games.
reread, and then we're going to dive into the new book. And so not only are we going to give you a whole background on the books and our opinions on it and the build up of the three the main trilogy, right? We're also going to go into the sequels and the new one that just came out, which we're so excited about, and we don't know enough about. We just know that it's Hamish's story, but we're trying really hard to get away from the social media aspect, and we've seen some reaction to it, and we're like, oh god,
Yeah.
we need to get
We're
to
nervous,
this.
and we're trying to get through it to get to it without any spoilers. But
Yeah.
we're very excited. I
So-
feel rejuvenated, like rereading it. It's just, I don't know, it just feels so great when you read a
Agreed.
book that you love
Yeah.
for the first time in like years. It feels brand new.
I know it does, and I feel like we're not looking at this from the nostalgia. Like, yeah, there is nostalgia, 100%, but we are also looking at it from an adult point of view of we're trying to figure out our journey as to what books we love
And what is it that we like about these characters?
books.
Like, why do I like
Yes.
Aelin? Why do I like Katniss?
Why do I even love Peeta? Like, why do I love, even Lucian? Like, it's like, and it almost, and again, we'll have more to talk about this, but it's almost like the character is being developed.
Yeah.
You're seeing a struggle. You're
And I
seeing
think
a personality.
one of the biggest things is that the character makes sense.
Yeah.
That's my biggest thing.
Which is why Saeris I fucking hated her.
Yeah.
It didn't
And
make
I don't
sense.
even want to keep talking because I'm about to start talking about Katniss, and I can't right now.
No.
But
Okay.
I do think
I'm just gonna. This is
I do
why
think
I
that-
hated Saeris. This is why. I hated that she was introduced
I
as a
think you're
strong
right.
female
She
character,
didn't make sense as a character.
and she didn't make sense. She came back into this Fae world, and she was like, and now I'm dumb. Like, and now like, oh, is he like into me? Oh, these are my friends and I need to fight with them. It's like you're giving dumb, girl. You're giving dumb. And that's why I hated her so much, because it didn't make any sense. And that's why I know you're going to hate this, but I'm going to say it. That's why I didn't hate Violet so much, because she went from, I'm a little dumb girl, and she got stronger.
She didn't make sense because she turned dumb.
Well, she's still dumb, but I'm saying at least
but
she got a
was smart.
backbone.
No. What backbone?
Well,
Her
the
dragon?
audacity.
What was her backbone? Zayden?
Okay.
Please get the fuck out of here with that shit. Don't make me go off. Give me that fucking microphone. Don't talk to me about that.
Okay, I'm not gonna do this.
Okay.
So overall, we are going to dive into the Hunger Games. We're really freaking excited. It's gonna be 5 books. This is, get ready for a long one.
Stay tuned.
Yeah,
And stay tuned for, I don't know what we're gonna drink for Hunger Games. We're trying to match the drinks to the
podcast. And so this was a spicy margarita because this was
spicy
like
content?
spicy. But someone's probably gonna be like, girl, this wasn't that much spice. And we're gonna be like,
we'll figure it out.
fine.
It'll make sense.
Which is
I
fine.
think.
But I think the spicy margarita might come back on moments
No, it's
that
gonna
there's
come
too
back
much spice.
because we love spicy margaritas, especially
Oh my God,
this
it was
one.
so good.
This is like a cucumber spicy.
Please, listen, check the notes on this video because you need this recipe.
It's so good.
This
so
spicy
good.
margarita is one of the best I
The
have
only
created.
thing I would add to this is like chopped jalapenos in it because I like to like drink it and chew it while but
I love that. Yeah.
but this is probably gonna make an appearance, spice or not, just because we love it.
Yeah.
But we're trying to match the drinks to the theme.
Podcast.
So
if you
we'll
have
brainstorm.
ideas, like we're gonna read the Hunger Games next, and we're gonna go through all the 5 books. So if you have ideas as to what drinks might be fun, give us content. Give us like ideas in the comments.
Leave it in
and
the
we would
comments. Let
freaking
us
love
know
that.
what you think, or just like general drinks that you guys like. So maybe we could bookmark them for different other books.
I would love that. Yeah. So this was Booked and Buzzin'. Thank you for staying with us, and please stay tuned for our next episode, which is going to be so much Hunger Games. We're excited.